Another meeting. Start over again, really? Okay. Oh, I have to do that again. Sorry. Today is October 5th, 2023. This is CEC28's calendar and business meeting. Welcome. My name is Vijay Ramjan, the president of the council. Before we get started, we'll be asking our recording secretary, Natifa Lewis, to do the roll call, please. Natifa?
Good evening. President Vijay Ramjan.
I'm here.
First Vice President Lou Zhao.
Here.
Second Vice President Miron Swapna. I'm here. Treasurer Lewis.
Here.
Member Quentin Messenger. Member Quentin Messenger.
Just say here.
Here.
There you go.
Member GK.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So, one more, right, Christine? She's on, right?
Member Christine Sakistan.
Not here, not excused. Thank you so much, Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis. So, community, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's October, it's the second, third week, fourth week of school. So we are excited about this year. I want to acknowledge all of our dignitaries who are here. We have three wonderful people in the audience today with us in vivo and live here. Yes, we had one the first month. We had two last month. Now we have three. So we are getting there slowly but surely. But it's amazing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of our council members are here in person, which is amazing. And we are happy about that. And also Lou Zhao is there with us in virtually. So we are here doing the work. We are here because you elected us to be here, and we are grateful for this opportunity to represent you, the parents, and also to do the best that we can do to advocate for you. To all the principals who are here, I want to thank you for your hard and dedicated work in this amazing District 28, the Great 28. We want to thank all the administrators and everyone else who supports the school community, from the janitors to everyone. Your input makes a difference, and as Dr. Hall always say, we're in this together. We are a team. We are one, and we are a great 28 because each of us makes it great together. And thank you to all 67 of you who have joined with us tonight virtually to do this meeting today. We have a very packed but tight schedule to do. We have to do today the Office of District Planning. Reba is going to be here to present. That's usually a lengthy but very interesting and very, very important presentation. So you know what's happening in the district in terms of buildings, etc. We also have our Councilwoman Lynn Schulman, who is no stranger to our council, a district here, who we really appreciate. If you remember, she co-sponsored with us the legislative breakfast at Queens College this past year, which was a great success. And we are so happy to have her here with us. And this is the relationship we have with our council members, our elected officials, that we are partners in this together. And of course, my dear friends, we have our amazing superintendent, Dr. Blake, who will be presenting very soon. And also we have Bruce Zaihal, who is the UFT district rep for this district here, who is a force to be reckoned with. And we have not seen such force in this district for a long time from the UFT group, and we're so happy to have him on board with us. Last but not least, to the parents, all of you who have joined tonight here, we want to encourage you to keep coming to this meeting, right? This once a month meeting is the place to be, to hear everything about the district, what's happening from the top down, right? And when you hear it here, it's official. There are a lot of things that we get tons of emails across the month about hearsay, what's happening in schools and this and that. And here's a place where you can really ask questions directly to the superintendent and his team, and also to the council members. And we who you elected who are here today to really do our part for you. So two things we ask you. We'll be asking you to use the chat feature to write the word speak. If you would like to speak during the later on in our public comment section, To the folks who are here in person, if you want to speak, there's a form back there. So please write the word speak, and then we'll call one in person, one virtually in that order. And depending on how many people sign to speak, then we will give 3 minutes, 2 minutes, or 1 minute, depending on how many people are signed up to speak. I'll ask our recording secretary Natifa to make an announcement about the chat feature and our rights to, or to reserve, to shut it down if we have to. Natifa? Thank you, Natifa. We also have a new member on board tonight, and I want to acknowledge him, Mr. Kalyana Gurumurthy. We're going to ask him to just say a few words, just really quickly. He's filling a vacant seat. Not that he is filling a vacant seat, but he is qualified, right? He's not filling anyone's shoes. He's here on his own stance to do the work of the community also, and he was elected by the council to serve here. So we're going to be asking him to just say a few words to the community, introduce himself to the community, and then after which we'll continue. Mr. Gurumurthy. Someone muted there. Okay, apparently we're having we're having okay.
Who's music on?
Can your volume is on? Take away volume. Okay. Are you all hearing us? Dr. Hall said thumbs up.
I can hear you.
You can hear me. So were you able to hear Natifa just now?
No.
No. Can you try again?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear from distance. Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear Mr. Gurumurthy?
Let me try. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Go ahead.
With echo though.
Is it?
With echoes. I'm muted. Oh, no.
No, you need to.
I'm muted.
With volume.
Your sound.
Volume.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good. Thank you. My name is Gurumurthy Kalyanaram. You can just call me GK. I live in Forest Hills. I have twin girls who are not quite 8 years old. They go to PS 303 in Forest Hills. I got elected by the council here. This is my first meeting. I've been in education. I have a PhD in management science and industrial organization economics from MIT, and I teach. Now I teach part-time because but I shouldn't say this to my wife. I'm the more full-time parent, and she is the vice president at Bayer. And I teach here at CUNY, including York, not too far from here, at Fordham and at NYU. I'm an education counselor to MIT. I interview kids that apply to MIT and make recommendations to admission committee. I've been in education all my life. Here in US, I've taught in Japan, India, China, all over the world. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, council members, for electing me. Thank you again. Thank you. My regards to you. So,
well, you have one more role to work for this community.
thank you.
It's going to be a lot of work, and we are happy to have you on board with us. And as many of you may know, there is one more seat that we have to discuss tonight in our business meeting. And more of you are welcome to join that business meeting to listen on that vacancy potentially for the council. And then we may have an application up depending on how the council votes tonight. Reminder that if you want to speak, put the word speak in the chat feature. And can we ask Adriana, do you mind keeping track of the chat feature? And let us know all the speakers. Then you let me know and we can just call in later on. Great. So at this point in time, without further ado, we'd like to call on our amazing superintendent, acting superintendent, Dr. Blake, to make his contribution. Dr. Blake?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Blake.
Thank you. Just want to say good afternoon to everyone, and it's really a great show of support to have everybody represented here tonight. And just want to say how thrilled we are to have you. So just some little words about the district in terms of what's going on. Sorry, I don't know why this is not presenting. Just give me a second, this technology. I don't know why it's not sharing. Slideshow. All right, so I just want to say that with our effort and support, all our schools can meet the needs of students and help them achieve outstanding educational outcomes. That is the frame of the presentation, that together we're stronger than we're apart. Our community has its vision around the Grade 28, that in this district, we celebrate our differences. When I looked at the district, I see a tale of two cities, as it were. However, what I see is possibility and diversity, unlimited capacity to learn and to expand our knowledge and our commitment as individuals, as teachers, as parents, and as leaders. We are all coming together. We are committed to striving for contributions to the lives of all our scholars in District 28. In our community district, we focus on equity as a lever for achievement for every single scholar. We are a district and a pathway to excellence, and we are committed to ever maintaining high academic standards and working closely with families, all the stakeholders represented here tonight. Trying to, it's just frozen right now. All right, so we have been talking about New York City Reads as an initiative by the Chancellor that beginning in 2023-24 school year, we'll be launching what is known as the initiative called New York City Reads. What it really is, it is a goal to ensure that all students become strong, proficient readers, which is the single most important skill, as we know that literacy is a foundation of every learning. So we are focusing on looking at the New York City Reads to enable all our youngsters, especially from 3K all the way to 8th grade, that they are able to get the foundational skills that they would get in order to, to have a very successful life later on in the high school and college and beyond. Some fast facts about this initiative, that we have 15 districts which were chosen to be a part of phase 1 in accelerating the curriculum, looking at certain shifts. And we, as District 28, we were a part of phase 2, where we will be looking at curriculum materials and looking at see how we can really match the science of reading to how students actually learn to read. So we are part of phase 2, and we're saying that in terms of looking at checking the pulse, we are way ahead of the game. In District 28, we are well ahead of the game because many of the schools are already launching the curriculum and they have been using this for years. So this is really above and beyond the initiative. They have been doing the work in District 28. Right, so it's talking about a little bit about details about New York City Reads. It's about meeting every New York City students where they are. It's about providing multi-tiered systems of support to help all our students to really get their foundation skills in literacy. Not just a K-5 initiative, but it's a K-12 initiative, where every kid should be able to read and master certain literacy, foundational literacy, to enable them to build strong foundation. And as such, the Chancellor is looking at this in the elementary school from K all the way through 8. All right, and we'll be talking about this as we go along, looking at phonetic element, phonemic awareness, vocabulary fluency, and comprehension is nothing new. It has been a part of instruction, but we are looking at the shifts, not giving students level text, as it were, but enable students to do rich content in their schoolwork right across the curriculum, ELA, math, social studies, to enable students to read well. The middle and high schools, the great emphasis is really looking at the lower grade. Literacy content designed to lead college and career readiness is a major thrust behind this literacy for all, or New York City Reads. How does it fit in with District 28? When I came to the district, I looked at the data very carefully, and I'm a part of the data source. I realized that we have 4 specific goals that we need to focus on. And my job is to allow 100% of school leaders to focus on increasing literacy proficiency across the entire gamut of schools. The same is true with mathematics as well. And I'll be giving this tonight some scores about the New York State scores that just came out recently. One of our major goals, though, is also to look at chronic absenteeism. There is a chronic absenteeism in District 28, and my job is to sort of chip away at that. How can we make schools inviting, loving places where students feel the joy of learning? So that will go a long way in getting rid of the chronic absenteeism and to be able to retain our students, especially in New York City, where we have so many different newcomers, asylum seekers, and we have to integrate them as part of our society as well, and to accommodate these new Americans or new arrivals. So that is going to tip in the scale in terms of rethinking and revisiting how we really teach our students. ENL, English language learners, multiple language learners, everybody's welcome. Students with IEPs, all our students. We are mandated to support all our students. And we know legally that we have to get our students in school. So we are in the middle of that. Queens disproportionately have been getting a whole barrage of newcomers because of the different shelters in our locales. There are certain things over which we have control, others we don't. Our duty is just to educate the students and to welcome the families as they turn up at our doors, so to speak. And the very important goal is parental involvement and engagement. I've been to the parent coordinators meeting with PA presidents in schools, and I've really been able to trying to see how we can navigate the parent engagement in our school so that parents can become a part of this. And I've also certain great plans in place. We'll have workshops for parents to understand how we can help our students to learn to be better readers at home. So by the parents themselves being involved. So stay tuned for the workshops that we have planned for you, and also having these curriculum planners to also have workshop for parents as well, because parents, you are a very vital part of this partnership. This is the data we have, very, very exciting data. Last year we had 53.9% in ELA. And as you can see from this slide that we have an increase from 53.9 to 58.1. So there's upward trajectory in ELA. And the teachers and the parents and the school leaders ought to be commended for this great thrust in ELA. Mathematics has a great increase as well, from 46.4 to 57.3. So we are seeing movements in the district in terms of ELA and math. My goal is to push those even further into the high 60s and beyond. So this is still progress, but it's work in action still. We have never reached the finishing line, so to speak. There's work yet to be done. And, you know, I'm very much capable and willing to get you through there. My school that I led for 16 years had great increase. And it's not because of just one person, because of the team effort. And I was able to activate the partnerships and able to allow those outstanding results. So just to take another little look at the shifts, the shifts is to support the implementation of practices aligned to the science of reading. So what the researchers are saying is that there's a particular science in terms of how the brain functions, in terms of how students learn to read. And New York City is on the cusp of really looking into that, looking at the research, being intentional around data, and to make those shifts in the classroom where we could leverage the practices that will enhance core curriculum. And when I look at all the 36 schools in our district, they are well ahead of the curve, ready to even take on greater challenges and to accelerate the learning of our students, all of our students in every part of the district, from the north to the south side of the district. And my job is to really allow the district to be one in terms of, we are aware that there is disproportionality. We're aware of that, but my job is to allow all the schools to intermingle, and we have started a nice intervisitation process where student leaders from the north will see leaders in the South and to look at these curriculum. The curriculum is one way. Having a uniform curriculum is one way to bridge that gap. So allow good teaching pedagogy to be given to every school in the district. And that is one good way of looking at it, by having an enhanced core curriculum which is exposed to every child. And of course, it's not one size fits all, because we know that there are ELL learners and our MLL learners, and there are students at IEPs. We have to differentiate the instructions, and these curricular shifts will also incorporate those shifts as it will meet the needs of those students. And this is also delve a little deeper. So for example, I spoke about leveled reading groups. We're not going to have leveled readings and say, okay, you should only be in those levels. We're going to provide small group differentiated instruction based on need of the child. Doesn't matter if the child is in the 5th grade, but reads at a 7th grade level, that child should be able to get work or text, rich content text in the classroom to enable them to accelerate. And our high performing students, also, we have to pay attention to them as well, not just to the underperforming kids, not just to remediate, but to accelerate, to give real exposure to kids who are doing very well. So together we can move every child, getting the child where the child is, and take that child to the next level. Is very, very important. So we talk about the shifts, about the principles of reading. I'll delve a little deeper into that at another time, but it's not just K-5, but we're a district of pre-K, 3K, all the way to 8th grade, and it is my duty and responsibility to lead this wonderful district with great leaders to realize the goal. And this is also look at some of the shifts, like the phonics, decoding skills, critical reading, vocabulary development, fluency. So it's all about in the science of reading. My background is in literacy and English. And of course, this comes well by looking at grammar and syntax. Many, many years ago, people were saying that grammar has no place in the classroom. It does, in context. So that's a part of fluency and prosody, and a part of really mastering those competencies of the good reader. Proficient reader readers have certain competencies, and we're able to, by looking at the curriculum, looking at the pedagogical moves, to be able to assess all our students. And one big part of this is about progress monitoring. It's all good to give these words and to give these strategies, but are kids really learning? What should the classroom look like? So I'm an underground person, underground, so to speak, to make sure that the classrooms represent what we're talking about. The other day I went to I think it was on Wednesday, I went to a school, and I was so moved and impressed. In a 2nd grade class, these kids were looking at high level literacy skills. I was really impressed. So that is the type of learning we will be exposing right across the district, not just in the one school, but I want to see it in all the schools. All right, so basically that's an overview of where we are. Just to recap, the goals are still in progress. We cannot sit on our laurels. We have to expect that our kids will only learn to read well if we support our leaders in the school. I've been working with I've been making inroads in trying to bridge certain divide. I've been working very closely with the UFT rep, district rep. It's all about common sense practices and best practices. I've been trying, I've met quite a number of the elected officials, and Lynn Truman is on my list as well to meet, and to see how we can leverage the resources to help better accelerate the performance and enhance the performance of all the students in D28. So I'm here for questioning. I have another meeting, but I'll be staying back for a while. So this is a part of the dream and a part of the goals. And you're getting a reader. For those of you who don't really know me very well, I've been in education for almost 30 years in Brooklyn, where I've run a successful school, grade 6 through 12, to great performances. And I really know what instruction looks like, and can really help to manage that piece. So you have a competent leader as in your superintendent. And just want to say thank you very much for the parents. I'm also a parent of a public school child. I spoke about it all the while, that my son is a product of the public school of New York City, and he was a student in my school. So that's all I value New York City public schools, to have my own child come into my school and be a graduate and now a contributing member of society. So what I want for my child is what I want for every scholar and family in District 28. Thank you very much for listening, and definitely this is only a part of the process. working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. So we have to mute back that. Thank you, Dr. Blake. Second, we still give the sound and check. So we can turn it off until someone is presenting. When someone is presenting, we put it on there.
Sure.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Blake. We will be having questions after. I'm not sure how long you can stay back. I know you have another obligation, but of course, D28 has led by example, being a district where it's an open door policy, right? And we love the presentations and the data. And I'm sure we'll have these slides up on our website, also on our website, so the public, you can see these things also. We have grown used to always having data first and bring the numbers. And I'm glad that you came and you led with that. Our district has grown to expect that. And thank you for transparency and for being that force in this district so far, that you have shown that you are really committed to really bring up the numbers and have us as competing in the city and doing well like we are already. Thank you so much. I want to really quickly acknowledge Dr. Hall. If you can say hi really quickly, Dr. Hall.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, President BJ. It's always a pleasure to be here with everyone here in District 28. Under the leadership of Dr. Blake, I just want to reiterate what VJ just said, that we do have a continued commitment to data-informed instruction and data-informed improvement across the district. So we continue in that trend. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. And next we want to just call really quickly. We are always honored to have our elected officials when they show up at our meeting. We have grown to actually expect them to be here and not only call them when we need them, but they come as partners in our space. And today we have the amazing Councilwoman Lynn Schulman, who is here with us today, and I'll give her a few minutes to say a few words. Councilwoman?
Thank you very much. And we did the joint CEC budget meeting and forum in May. So since then, I'm very happy to report that the school budget was not cut. We are taking a look at what the mayor might or might not do. There's nothing that's been presented to us. So, but we're definitely keeping an eye on that. I just wanted to let folks know, I mean, a lot has happened. So I brought about $5 million to our schools in District 28 for capital. I'll quickly go through it. Queens Metropolitan High School got $200,000 for classroom conversion to an esports lab. They got $200,000 for smart board replacement, library renovation, $300,000. Forest Hills High School got $1.8 million for auditorium tech and cooling system upgrade. There's a number of them. PS220 got $56,000 for new water bottle filling stations. That was from participatory budgeting, which we're going to be doing again this year. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to make sure that VJ knows about that and can get that out to everyone. I do want to just stop and say that Superintendent Blake, you and I kept missing each other because your schedule got a little bit complicated. My schedule got complicated, but we definitely are going to meet. So PS 174 got $450,000 for accessible for bathroom upgrades. Junior high school 157 got $80,000 for computer lab upgrade. PS 144 got $150,000 for a sensory room. I do want to say that if schools didn't get money, it's because they didn't come to us and ask us. January is when we make when we start making these decisions in the process. And so please, my chief of staff, Jonathan Boucher, is in this meeting. He'll put his information in the chat. Make sure you contact us because we want to make sure that our schools have the resources and everything they need. I also will tell you that during the big heat wave we had, which was those 2 or 3 days where it was like between 95 and 100, we did get complaints about air conditioning and heat, all that stuff. We did bring that back to DOE. We're working with them. We actually had a hearing last week about air quality and asked questions about that. I had a meeting with principals that I pulled together, and they gave us some complaints and issues that they want us to address. We are doing that. We're in the process of doing that. So anybody has anything, we know about supplies, anything else, please call my office, and we're going to try to see what we can do to make things better, because our kids only get one chance at a good education. So we want to make sure of that. And also I had backpack giveaway events, both in Forest Hills and Richmond Hill this year, and it was amazing. The kids were so excited. We got a lot of sponsors to help us. We we did it with Jennifer Rajkumar in Richmond Hill. We did it in Forest Hills with the sheriff's office and the local precinct. We got the Queen Center Mall. We got a number of donations of supplies and backpacks and everything else. And we get the information to VJ, who's amazing, who's an amazing leader, I want to say. And thank you for your partnership and for the partnership of everybody here. And Dr. Hall, thank you for everything. And so we, like I said, we are partners. We're going to be doing some other things. FYI, just, I mean, I know this is necessarily school related, but we are going to be doing turkey giveaways, both halal turkeys and kosher turkeys. So we want to make sure that we do what we can to make sure that our district is fully covered in all the different diversity that is represented here. So, and also not related, but it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I am a breast cancer survivor. We are having a mammogram van at the Sikh Cultural Society. And you can sign up. We can get you that information as well, so you can send it out. And I'll be meeting also with the PTAs too. We're going to be working on that as well. So that's my brief sort of update for now.
It's all good stuff. It's all great information, and we heard money. We heard lots of money, and that's great, because when I became president back in 2019 of this council, there was not that much partnership with the elected officials and the council, and we made a very big push to have that, and we're so happy that you're just showing up. Not really have to be invited, and we appreciate that, Councilman Schulman, for your time and commitment, but also to ensuring that our students get the funds, the schools get the funds. And someone has asked here, did a different school get funds for your school? Ask your principal that question, because you have to hold them accountable too, and ask them to apply. You have to apply. Councilwoman Schulman can't just give funds because she wants to give it. You have to apply for it. And we always put our reminders out in the community to apply for the Resolute funds and to apply for various funds. And we have seen many schools got lots and lots of funding for various projects. So thank you so much for what you're doing, and we acknowledge it.
I also just want to briefly mention, I saw somebody put something in the chat. So there was a day redistricting of the city council. And so all the districts were, because of the census, all the districts had to be redistricted to represent a certain number of people. So in the redistricting, I lost most of Rego Park. So there are some schools that I won't be representing, although some of them are on the border. So I know there are students that will be going to them anyway. So we'll be splitting that with some other council members. And also I gained some. So I gained Richmond Hill, most of Richmond Hill. So I'll be representing that community. And I've been, as VJ knows, I've been there tons and tons of times. So and we will continue to service all different parts of the district. What I will be doing is I will be sending out letters when we figure out exactly which schools are in and which are out, to the principals of the schools that we won't have anymore, and also to the principals that we'll be gaining, so that we can establish those relationships early. We'll do that after the elections in November. We'll start getting that out before the end of the year.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we have 12 council members. So that's 12 turkeys, just in case you was wondering. Worked out. I don't like the big ones, like the kind of small ones. 13 plus Dorinda. Thank you so much. And Jonathan Boucher, who is also on board with us tonight. Please send us all those flyers for the mammogram, the various things you're having in the community. The CEC website has a community page that we post all these community events, so the community can know about it. So if you just email it to myself, Dorinda, then we can post it on our community page and we can share it out there. Thank you so much.
I can do that. Thanks, VJ. I'm on the call as well. So thank you. And I'll send that over to you so you have all that information.
And he'll be staying because I actually have another meeting, believe it or not. So it's that time of year again already. It's not summer anymore. So I appreciate everyone here. And like, again, Jonathan will stay, and anybody can please call my office and we'll help with whatever we can. And we want to make sure that our schools are the best. So thank you.
Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you. We really do. Thank you. Okay, my friends. And Jonathan, if you can please put the contact information and the address to your office, that would be great. So community members can know where to call, who to call, if they need to reach your office. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving along, folks, we have a tight program, so we want to keep it going. And just so you know, too, we only have a permit for until 10 p.m. in the district building here. So we got to keep it going. So now our next presenter today is, she's going to be doing a data summary presentation for the Office of District Planning. And her name is Reba. She's no stranger to our community, to our district. She's been here before, and she listens very well, but she also brings a lot of information. So again, if you have questions for anything so far, or questions for Reba on what she's about to present, please write the word "speak" on the chat feature, and we'll call you later on. She'll answer the questions she has, you have for her. Reba, it's over to you.
Thank you, VJ. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. And that's exactly right. I am here to share some data. I do want to briefly present about the Office of District Planning, which I'm here to represent, to make sure folks know what we cover and what this data informs. So first, we'll pull up a few slides to talk through our office and our structure, and then we'll turn it over to the data summary. So for folks' awareness, we sit within the DOE under First Deputy Chancellor Weisberg, and in our division, we partner closely with the Office of School Design, the Office of Student Enrollment, and other partners across the DOE for any sort of strategic planning, recommendations, and policy decisions. And part of our work is annual strategic plans for all of the districts across the city that we create and strategize around in partnership with school communities like you all here this evening. And all of that planning is rooted in data, it's rooted in community engagement and feedback. And then ultimately, if we are proposing any sort of changes, it's through a public review process. And hearing that this district is excited and interested to engage in data is definitely helpful and a good grounding for our conversation this evening. So in part of that strategic planning work, we do what is called the district planning process, where we look at enrollment trends, demographic data, building capacity numbers, and anything that we see in the numbers also is supported by feedback from the community so that we can really understand the district landscape and understand maybe where there's overcrowding or where there's facilities needs that we can address through the types of changes that my office governs. And that's why the CEC in this forum is such an important partnership, so that we can hear from the community, partner with elected officials and other stakeholders who are on the call to really make sure that policy recommendations are informed by both quantitative and qualitative data. The district planning process, again, is cyclical. We're always kind of assessing needs, and there are things that have been true for many years. There are new things that come up as neighborhoods change and as school demographics and circumstances change. And we look at that data on an ongoing basis, but every year we do come to the CEC to present it in a comprehensive way, which we call our data consultation, which is what I'm here for this evening. And we identify maybe potential changes, potential needs, and then build from there. And any sort of proposal is rooted in community engagement. We have extensive opportunities for feedback, and kind of our two major processes that my office governs are Chancellor's Regulation A190, which are school utilization changes like co-locations or resightings. An example, I saw Principal Signal was on the call when I joined earlier. We opened a District 75 school in the Q140 building a couple years ago. That's the type of change that's under Chancellor's Regulation A190. And then Chancellor's Regulation A185 is rezonings, which we partner very closely with the CEC on, as they're the voting body on that. And do just want to say again, I know there was a council rezoning, like Councilmember Schulman was discussing And that does change elected representation, but that did not change school districts or zone lines for schools in terms of what school you're zoned to based on your address. And just want to make sure I'm clarifying that. And we'll be happy to answer questions. And then kind of in our toolkit, after looking at data and having these conversations, are these types of potential changes. I mentioned rezoning or unzoning, merging of schools, opening new schools, which is often capacity dependent, but sometimes can happen in existing buildings, resightings, charter school sightings, or enrollment planning. And any sort of change does come, like I mentioned, with community engagement. Again, having forums on CEC meetings such as this, having opportunities for building walkthroughs whenever there's a potential change proposed, having community meetings. Oftentimes our proposals or our work do impact specific schools, so making sure we're going to that school or having conversations with that particular SLT or PTA or broader community, not just on broader community forums, but very school specific type engagements. So that's kind of the overview of what district planning is and does. And then I'd like to change my screen and pull up the data summary to cover some of the trends that inform the work that I just described. So the data summary looks like this. Again, it's something that we publish annually and it's public. We shared it with the CEC. I know they have a website that they're able to post this on, or we can share it with folks if anybody wants it directly sent to them after the fact this evening. And it's a really comprehensive document that has a lot of information. You'll see here there's about 30 pages in it. I'm going to highlight specific trends that I think are really most relevant for these types of conversations, but happy to go to any page or answer any questions that folks on the call have. But first I'll put, before I speak about District 28 specifically, on the screen I have a citywide trend. And this captures that across all 32 school districts in our city, there's been a significant loss in enrollment over the last 10 years. That's that red line at the top. And it's showing that the loss was definitely exacerbated around the time of the beginning of the pandemic, but even before then that we were seeing pretty steady decline in enrollment since about 2016. There are two other lines on here, the blue line being district schools and the purple line being charter schools. So you'll see that over time, citywide, there has been a loss in district school enrollment and an increase in charter school enrollment. And that's something that I would say is true in District 28 as it is true across the city. And then this next table on page 4 is District 28 specific enrollment trends. And it's broken out here by different grade bands, elementary school, middle school, and high school, as well as 3K and pre-K. You'll see 3K opened in 2021. So that's why that number shows a significant amount of change over the last couple of years. And by and large, there has been steady enrollment declines, mostly at the elementary school level. But over the last year, enrollment has started to stabilize. I know the superintendent mentioned the new arrivals. There's definitely an influx of residents over the last year. But even still, before that, we were seeing less families leaving the city than maybe in years past, which is what we have on this next page here. This is a retention table. So this shows on the bottom where it lists table, this is the total number of residents at the elementary school level in the district. So you'll see that while enrollment has been decreasing, so too has the number of people who live in the district. So we're not totally surprised by that data trend. But of the folks who live in the district, we are seeing these two columns here on the right break down where families are going to school. We're seeing over the last 5 years that there has been an increase in enrollment in charter schools. The number of students that are leaving District 28 for other district schools has remained stable, and there are slightly less students enrolling in District 28 schools for elementary. We have the same table here at the middle school level. Again, residential decline, not as significant at the elementary school level. We've lost about 400 middle school residents in District 28 over the last 5 years, but still kind of a similar trend where more students are enrolling in charter schools and less students are enrolling in district schools. And a big piece of the conversation that I'd like to have tonight is about why this pattern exists and if there are any strategies we can come up with together to address it, or any thoughts families have about family choice. Scrolling down a bit here, there are a couple other data points I want to highlight a little bit later on. One being this table that shows low enrolled schools across the city. This graph shows district level data, and you'll see that in Queens, by and large, we don't have too many what we would consider to be low enrolled schools. The marker for that is schools that are in the bottom 25% of enrollment citywide. There's only 2 in District 28 compared to, you'll see some parts of Brooklyn, 17 and 19 have 20 plus schools. But the 2 in District 28 that we have listed here are Jamaica Children's School and Redwood Middle School. And this is an important data point for us because something that we do consider is demand and definitely opportunities to introduce supports at schools or understand, again, family choice. So for these 2 schools, we are seeing that at kindergarten for Jamaica Children's and for middle school at Redwood, there are fewer applicants than there are seats, which shows that there isn't necessarily high demand for these schools. Both schools are co-located with other schools that they share a zone with. Jamaica Children's School is co-located with PS 40, and Redwood is co-located with MS 72. And this is something to consider when we think about, budget and enrollment trends when schools are on the smaller side. Is there anything worth considering in terms of change or supports or adding programs or any sort of feedback the community has on these schools? And then on the flip side, and this will be my last data point for now until folks want to kind of respond to some of these questions and we can look at other points too. These are the schools that are the highest demand, meaning they have the most applicants per seat, and it's broken out here by kindergarten and 6th grade. So for us, definitely questions that we have for the community oftentimes is kind of why are these schools so popular? What about them works? And are there opportunities to replicate them or expand them? 303, as I'm sure many folks know, is a non-zone school, and there are very few non-zone schools in the district. So knowing that is probably why it has more applicants, because folks who don't go within kind of the zone framework are applying there. But also we know that's a popular option. 303 and 349, which is Queens School for Leadership and Excellence, both open within the last 15 years. That's also a trend that we see, that oftentimes new schools have a lot of demand if they're in new buildings or if they have some sort of innovative programming. And at the middle school level, we do see that secondary schools, meaning 6 to 12 schools, are pretty popular. This list has Mel's, Queens Gateway, and 157, which is a 5 to 9 school. I know also Yucca is in the district, York Early College, and that is a popular option as well. So definitely something to consider in terms of families potentially liking continuity, whether it's a K to 8 or a 6 to 12. And that's something we consider and absolutely want feedback on. So I'll pause there. I'll pass it back to you, VJ, and let me know how you want to do questions, or if while I'm presenting, if the council does want me to talk about any specific pages while this is pulled up.
Sure. Thank you so much, Reba. Sorry, Latifa. Latifa's doing the extra work today. There you go. So thank you so much. Can you stop sharing for us?
Yes.
Can you stop sharing for us? There it is. Thank you so much, Reba. Thank you. That's a lot of information, a lot of data points, and want the community to know that those slides, we have them on our website, and it's up. You can go there and look at them also. But again, put the word "speak" in the chat feature, and we'll call on you for questions later on. We just want to make sure we get through with our presenters, and then we can go ahead and have questions all at once, because sometimes the same question comes up 2 or 3 times, and we want to minimize that. So really quickly, I want to acknowledge the principals who are in the room tonight with us. Well, up tonight, but here, but at online. So we have Principal Activia Sandusky. I want to ask you to unmute really quickly and just say a quick hi. Then we have Principal Hanley is also here. I'm going to ask you to unmute to say hi also.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Oh, good morning, good evening, everyone. How you doing?
Which school is that? Tell us your school and where it's located at, so we know which school you're from. Let me ask you to unmute again. Hold on. There it is. Go for it.
Captain and Count Basie Magnet School for Multimedia and Performing Arts.
Thank you so much for being here. And you're always present. Thank you so much for always being here. And to any other principal who is in the Zoom chat here, you can put the word principal before your name so we know that you're in the room, so we can acknowledge you. Principal Hanley, go for it.
Hi, everyone. How you doing? PS 54, the Hillside School, K to 5.
Thank you so much for being here. Principal Jacob Lau.
Good evening, everyone. I am driving home from our in-person parent-teacher conference night. I'm the proud principal of the Emerson School. It was great to see some of our parents face-to-face since our initial parent-teacher conferences was virtual. So happy I was able to jump on and have this virtual option coming home from that event. DJ, thank you so much for everything you do for our community.
And thank you so much for all that you do and for always being present at these meetings. It's a big difference when we have the principals in the room also. It makes a big deal. Thank you so much. Principal Petrello, Nicholas Petrello.
Good evening, everyone. Principal Petrillo from PS 121 in South Ozone Park. Thank you all. I love joining these meetings. Thank you for being here, showing up, showing out. It's very, very nice to see such a community coming together. Thank you all, everyone. Appreciate it. And it's nice to see that we're on the school that's people are trying to go to. So keep up the good work, everyone. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much. Principal Robin Signal. Are you able to unmute? I actually unmute. Hold on. I requested you to unmute. Let's try again. He will come back. Principal Tammy Katan Brown. Okay, so I asked you to unmute, so I'm not sure if you're able to unmute at this point in time, but principals do know that we do value
Hello?
you. Oh, there you are. Go for it.
Oh, hi. Good evening, everyone. This is Tammy Katan Brown from Redwood Middle School. And I just want to bring up the fact that I kind of have a problem with that data because I presently have 300 students, and last year they had me with different projections. So I don't know how accurate this data is, but I would just like to have a conversation, when the time lends itself. Thank you.
There she is, Redwood. They're in the house. She brought the questions, right? Thank you so much. And Principal Robin Signal, are you able to unmute? I know you were present before 2 minutes ago when she stepped away. But either way, thank you all so much, principals, for being here. We want to encourage more principals to join these meetings. This is a community meeting. We want the principals, the parent coordinators, the teachers, the students, the parents, all of us to be in this room together. So please pass the word around to all the other principals that we would love to see more of them present here. When you come, guess what? The parents in your school will come also. And then we'll have this community, effort together. Thank you so much. So moving along, and Reba, you'll have a chance to answer her question once we go to the question and answer part of the meeting. Next, we're going to be having, so this person holds many hats in the district, and she also is the president of President's Council. So President's Council is a council that has all the presidents of the PTAs of each school, and she's a president of those presidents, right? If that makes a lot of sense, right? She's the president, and also she's also one of the borough appointees for the CEC Council. She was also a member of the council last year for 1 month, and she came back this year as a borough president appointee to CEC Council 28, and we are delighted to have Adriana Elisier present on behalf of the President's Council. So Adriana, your turn. Go for it.
Thank you, VJ. Ooh. Okay. Can everyone hear me okay? Wonderful.
Mute your microphone, but leave your speaker. There it is.
It should work. Okay, let's see.
On the keyboard, maybe it's.
Mhm. Is that better? It's muted. That's as muted as it's letting me go.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so as VJ said, I am the current president of District 28 President's Council. We meet monthly on the last Thursday of the month. What do we do? So we are a volunteer-based organization consisting of the PA and PTA presidents from across the schools in our district. We represent the interests of parents and families, and we provide guidance, information, and resources to support the efforts of our parent leaders. Our core tenets are accessibility, community, and equity, and we take formal and informal approach. So we send out formal meeting notices, and in addition to that, we send out calendar invites and we post reminders on social media. We try to treat our meetings as sources of information. Our superintendent previously, Dr. Pate, and currently our interim acting, Dr. Blake, are active participants in our meetings. I lead the meetings for the most part, and I encourage interruption because I feel like if you have a question and it can be answered right now, let's answer it right now so that we can move on and everyone is as fully engaged as possible. And then following our meetings, it usually takes me a few days. I send a full recap to all of our members with links, et cetera, of things that we discussed during our meeting. Our PAs and PTAs in District 28 make magic and they make do. So we're going to take a closer look at a few of our schools and how they showed up last year. So first, we're going to look at PS 121, their efforts and then their results. So they hosted their first ever fall festival in October of 2022. They also introduced class parents into their classrooms. They asked their teachers and then fully supported their wish lists. They initiated a Paint With Me program for parents and their children. And this is the coolest thing, in my opinion. Their students designed their school spirit gear. I think that's so cool. They also introduced a Word of the Week initiative. They hosted their annual Multicultural Week, and they hosted multiple Title I family workshops. And the result of all of that effort was that 97% of the families feel that school staff works hard to build trusting relationships. They had a high participation rate at both their SLT and PTA meetings, respectively. You can see that their average numbers for SLT were 20, and for their PTA meetings, between 45 and 55 participants. And they have great communication between the administration, the PTA, and the most important folks, the parents and the families. At PS 144, they hosted a culture and food festival where 20 cultures and countries were represented. They hosted a student talent show where 80 children performed in the talent show. And their fifth graders worked with enrichment providers on graduation performances. The results of all of this are that their monthly restaurant fundraiser continued to be successful throughout 2022. And their fundraising initiatives, launched the fundraising initiatives that they launched helped to pay for their enrichment programs for the 2022-2023 school year. That's pretty impressive. I mean, hats off to PS 144. So 303, their efforts included PTA sponsored field trips for students in school and off site, which was a big deal for like their pre-K kids. They made sure that their fundraisers centered around community building. They provided technology equipment. They funded classroom resources based on teachers' wish lists. I think that had pre-existed. They organized a canned food drive, and all of the donations were given to a local food bank. And they supported their racial equity committee by funding trips for all of the grades. The results of that included the fact that they were supporting student learning, and they were prioritizing that by funding things like tech and curriculum. And the community was prioritized. For example, their December 2022 potluck was well attended. Families took photos and participated in a raffle. And at 349, their efforts included a consistent and varied parent outreach efforts. a variety of fundraising events in 2022. Some examples that were shared are their Winter Craft Night, World's Chocolate Sales, and a bake sale. And they hosted an online fundraiser with Square Art. The results of all of that work included that by mid-2022, they raised about $10,500. Their PTA celebrated parents by giving awards for donations, awards for parent leadership, and awards for their volunteers. And the PTA celebrated teachers and hosted a teacher appreciation event with Sunshine Corporations. Having said all of that, the problems that we face are not unique to us. We all face obstacles, and some of those include navigating parent leadership roles. What does it mean to be a PA or PTA president, right? What am I supposed to do to support my community? And how can I support my community best? Those are all questions that we deal with all the time. Low rates of parent engagement, and also navigating that kind of language. Are parents really engaging at a low rate, or are we just not capturing them in a way that is the easiest for them, the most accessible for them, et cetera? And we also navigate very often uncertainty and fluctuating morale, but we're New Yorkers, we're used to that part. So the last slide here says get involved, if not you, who. You don't have to be the president of the PA or even sit on the board. If you show up and you do the work of showing up, you're involved. And we thank you for that involvement. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has, but I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Adriana.
Thank you.
Again, can you just please tell the families how can they contact the PTA?
Yes, you can contact us via email. I will put the emails in the chat. That's the easiest way to get in touch with any of us. And if you need to get in touch with President's Council, you can also do that via Sonia Rueda at the superintendent's office, or via your own PTA president or co-president or PA president.
When are your meetings held?
Sorry?
Your meetings where?
They are the last Thursday of the month at 6:30.
Hybrid?
No, they are a virtual format.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's nice. President's Council doesn't fall under OML the way that CEC does.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And there we go, her presentation. And we know by custom and by bylaws, we always got to have President's Council present at our meetings and vice versa. That's how we build a community together, you know? We share the space as one team in the district here. So thank you so much, Adriana, for your presentation and for your community work and sitting on so many different boards and doing your thing and being here also. We're grateful. So at this point in time, we're doing great with time and we appreciate that. So we're going to be going now to our next part of our meeting, which will be to get council member reports and updates. A few things before, so let's do my part really quickly. There's a new regulation where when a parent coordinator needs to be hired for a school, one of the council members needs to be present. The CEC needs to be present for these interviews for parent coordinators. We know there has been a high turnover of parent coordinators in the district and across the city. And want to say our principals has done a great job notifying us, the council, to request one of our members come to that interview. And I want to publicly thank our council members for also working around the clock and really being extremely flexible. Because just so you all know this, all the council members here have kids too, and they are also working and doing their own lives. This is not their full-time gig. This is a volunteer elected thing, right? So they taking the time out of their work life and time life to do these things is extra upon them and us and me and all of us. And to the council members, thank you for doing that and to really meeting our principals where they are and allowing and enabling the school to function at high capacity by having a parent coordinator. So principals, thank you for your part. Thank you, council members, for your part. And we are grateful for that. So I'll be calling the council members on the line and then present what you have done from last month to this month, anything you've been hearing in the community, anything you're hearing from your constituents, that being people in your circle, you want to share with the district and the community. And also, if you have any direct questions for Reba or anyone else, we can do that at this time when it's your turn. Be mindful, we want to be respectful of time. So let's share the voice and pass the mic. So at this point in time, Lou Zhao is remote. So Lou, your turn. Go for it.
Hi everybody.
I am not hearing you because my hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead. One more time.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a few things. One is, the admission season started, and a lot of parents are asking questions about admissions. So we had a resolution passed for the high school admission. So this is one of the questions I'm asking, if DOE have a reply to our resolution and clearly define the way they do for the random number, the so-called lottery numbers. Especially the confusion is on the wait list situation, that a lot of parents have questions, like when I have a very bad number, it's even like worth it to apply to some highly demand school. And if our resolution either is doing some way close to what we suggest, they actually have a fresh chance once they get into a wait list. So then it's a completely different picture for parents how they choose their school. So those things, I think, not only, I hope they can explain to us, also, I think it should be more clear to the parents. I know some parents are very well educated in this, things, then very few or any of them actually, I understand how this works. So those are really big issues, impact parents. So this is something, I want to follow up, quickly, because it's a very, urgent thing for parents to follow up, to understand. Another thing is, going on is the small class, bill. There's a few meetings. Because I was sick, I was planning to go to one, but I signed up, but I didn't go because I was sick. It was in person in the school. So I heard some like a discussion. I think this is something I don't want to spend too much time talk about because it's a big topic, but I do want to remind people to pay attention to it, because it's actually not as simple as you can, it sounds like, get smaller class, it's good. It's good, but it depends on how you implement it, and it needs a lot of resources. And we know that the city budget is on the downward trend. A lot of school facing budget issues. I know schools that start out with deficits on their budget, and they cannot pay some basic thing. They before they receive funding. So it was pretty important that how the fund is allocated, how it's implemented, and would have a lot of unintended consequences. For example, most of the school has overcrowded, like non-compliant, class are actually high performance class schools. So it's kind of ironic that we want to improve our education quality, but the effort would have mostly focused on high performance school, not low performance. So those are things that really worth people to think about. It's not as simple as it's good. It is good, but it has a lot of hidden costs in it. Okay, that's all I want to report on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate it. Next, we're going to be having our second vice president, Nuran Swapna. You want to use my thing? Go ahead. Come over here.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well today. So this month I was, sorry. So good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is having a wonderful evening. We had rain, lots of rain. Some area got flooded. As a community, I feel like we did a good job. So thanks to everyone for staying well. So the things that I did last month was more on working with parents. I'm kind of like I was working on the ground. A lot of parents had concern, questions for admission, and since we had some changes now, all of the admission questions or the admission processes is not handled by the schools. So a lot of parents were confused. They needed directions. I was able to help many parents on giving them the directions in my community. So my community, we have like people that are like, seeking asylum, and like we have non-English speaking, so I represent them. I was working as a translator. I can speak in Hindi. I can speak in Urdu. I also speak Bengali, so 3 language, and English too. So I am able to like, mediate if there's a conflict. And I like the fact that now many parents, they know me, they reach out to me, which is, it's a very good feeling. At the end of the day, I feel like everyone knows me now. And it's a very good feeling to like be able to uplift my community. Another family that I worked with, one of the parents, she lost both of her moms in a span of like a month. I've been trying to be there for her child. And as a community, I feel like we have to nurture and take care of one another. That's how we will make this community better. And like keep everyone safe. I feel like spreading more love, the only thing that we could use in our school and education sector is spreading love. So, forget about the hate. Let's just focus on love, and let's just focus on helping. And I think that's what connects all of us at the end of the day, and it increases diversity. So like, I feel like I decided to wear salwar today, so like, other people can feel included. And I feel like now I am at a stage in my life where I have to be the example for my kids and other people. Um, and thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate working with everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And it's great, I will say to you, the community, that we're so happy that our council is so diverse, and it's well represented across the district, and in terms of ethnicity, backgrounds, and because this District 28 is a melting pot, literally. We're the capital of the whole city in terms of this diversity here, and to see it also represented on our council, it's amazing. Thank you, Nuron, for your part that you do, and to you, the community, just you should know this too. If you want to have a translator here at the meeting, we can arrange that, right? If you know there's a school community who wants Bengali or Cantonese or Mandarin or Russian or any language that you want to attend the meeting, and you think the best way that you could attend this meeting is to understand what's happening, you can let us know. So we're going to be asking our amazing AA, Doreen, to put our email address on the chat feature. She just did it perfectly right time, good timing. Email us, let us know what you want, or even here, or reach out to one of your council members and say, I would like to have this language translation at the meeting, and we will arrange that for you. Definitely, or Spanish, whichever one. So moving along for reports, we're going to be asking our recording secretary, Latifah Lewis, to please make a report at this time. Latifah?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Do you want me to unmute my speaker, VJ?
Yeah, no, you don't have to. You don't have to. You're good.
All right. So good evening. For this month, a lot of the I had the pleasure to attend at least one parent coordinator interview for one of my schools, PS 312. So I believe that processes being finalized. So we're looking forward to having a new person on there. In terms of some of the questions that have been coming up from the community, and I'm happy that, as I mentioned, 312, I'm also happy that Principal Katan Brown also spoke up regarding the data for from Reba regarding MS regarding Redwood. So a similar thing happened with 312, which if you look at the numbers, it is on the it was listed as one of the low enrollment, but this is also a new school that has been phased in with its first fifth grade graduating class being 2019 to 2020. So that during the pandemic, they had their first class. And every year, if you look even at the data change, it shows a 58% increase in enrollment because it was a new school in a shared building. And one of the things, as it's mentioned, it shares with a long-known school, PS40, which has a program that starts from pre-K. So you had a lot of students who were in pre-K and kindergarten, and you saw that there was a lot. If you look at the numbers for the other classes, the enrollment has been going up. This is actually a conversation that I had with the principal even recently. And so I just want to make sure that when the district numbers are being reported, that is reported in context, because that school had denied applications for extension of programs to have a pre-K school, to have a pre-K class brought in. That was denied. And they were actually told that they were close to amount the capacity of seats that they are allowed in the building. So we can't have both things and them being unrelated when they are zone or were created with a small size mantra. And as Principal Katan Brown said for Redwood, although it's not one of my schools, I did get to know a little bit more of it, especially during the whole Success Academy co-location battle. Those numbers were not fully accurate, and she actually had an over projection of enrollment for the past 2 years. So the data reflecting a past time does not always reflect well in terms of what is going on and how resources are going to be attributed. They are also in recipient last year of a magnet grant, which has a 5-year enrollment increase projection. So again, just make sure that when we're having these data presented, that they're presented in context related to what the limitations are around these schools that have been trapped within buildings and that we're still trying to push more people into. In terms of other concerns that have come up, and I think Lou mentioned a little bit of it related to applications. There have been some questions from the community related to like we've had our middle school and high school admission fairs in the past. There are community members who are asking if we will have it, and I know it's one of our agenda items to discuss. So far, I think I've gotten a lot more good reports in terms of safety throughout the district this year. You know, at quite a few of the school meetings that I was able to attend, principals and staff have indicated that it has been a much calmer start to the year than the last 2 years. However, because of the increase in construction that's still going on around the city, there is still a concern in terms of sometimes attendance and when people are able to when students are able to report to school, often due to no fault of their own. So those were the main things that were on my report for today. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Natifa. Next, we're gonna be calling our treasurer, Yu Tao Chen. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thanks everyone. Good evening. As the treasurer of this committee, the last month, I only did one thing. I updated one cell in a spreadsheet. Actually, yeah, as the treasurer of this committee, I'm kind of lucky that I don't have the responsibility of doing the fundraising and all that stuff. Everything comes in from a fixed budget. Everything will be spent pretty much predetermined. So we're going to have like a budget review at part business meeting part, and if parents are interested, if anyone's curious, you can take a peek, and maybe next meeting give us suggestions on how we can spend the very limited money we have. But that's a few things we are going to take care of as from the business side. That's the aspect areas I attended the PTA meeting of my daughter's school, which 303, and I'm very glad to report that we are building like strong collaboration between the PTA and the CEC. Whereas a lot of the parents leaders are showing that we're trying to engage the parents and help the parents to get started and be more involved in their kids' learning, as well as in giving us feedback and the directions and criticism sometimes. And so that's all welcome. We appreciate all the input from the parents. And as a lot of the members already mentioned, a hot topic parents are concerned are the admission process change and the small class regulations. I'm not going to go into that, but I will try to do my part to help the parents to, get comfortable and get familiar with the process when possible. So I guess that's pretty much it. Just like two public announcements. One is high school application is now open. You should probably work with your kids, and if you guys can get him off his games and YouTube watching, and you should start looking at their high school application. It's open. And also, if you need help, or if you know anyone that needs help to create school accounts or whatever, please reach out to the school and offer help whatever way we can. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know you have attended like two parent coordinator. Was it two?
Yeah.
Which school? Do you remember which schools it was?
303 and 82.
You went to the parent coordinator things. Thank you for doing that. And how was the experience?
It was very. It's the first school year, I think. Yeah, it's a first meeting, a PTA meeting of the school year. So I think it's a lot of things to set up, and but people are getting into their role, and it's
Thank you so
learning
much.
process.
Thank you so much, Utama. He is our treasurer for the council, so that's the budget man, right? Thank you. Next, we will be having Jay Lin, Councilmember Jay Lin.
Hello, can you hear me? I want to make sure that my mic is on. Yeah, can everyone hear me? Okay, all right, then nodding head. All right, this is my, okay. I'll reintroduce myself again to Jay Lin. I'm a member of the council. And so for the past month, I've noticed a couple of things, although I've been my whole family tested positive for 2 weeks. And but now I'm completely fine, recovered. And just a couple of things that I wanted to report and to share with people. One is I'm not sure how many schools experienced there's no hot lunch for the whole week, right? And at least my son's school, PS1 and 4, experienced the whole that week without lunch. So we had to bring our own lunch prepared for the kids, especially the younger ones, because of primary school. So I'm sure it's not if my son experiencing that, I'm at least that school itself experienced that. I wonder maybe there's other schools out there too. But it was fixed like Friday, but the whole week was, yeah. So that is something that I wonder if there's someone else experienced that, but that has been brought to my attention, and so that's one of the things I wanted to share with the community, you know, if there's someone else, but hopefully this won't happen again, but I will, but I don't know what was I don't know the exact fundamental reasons behind that, but I think there's a, hopefully, especially getting into the winter time, the cold weather, so something like this may have a bigger impact on the kids' performance in school and their experience during the day. Another area that I wanted to bring to people's attention is also, I think, kind of echoes with Adriana's presentation on there's a lower sort of the parents' engagement. This is a topic that I'm very passionate about. One of the areas that when I was running for the seat, I was saying I want to connect between parents and the school. And actually, before running for this position, I was actually participating in a PTA, from time to time, although not officially a member of the PTA. I was participating in that for a couple of times, and I did realize that while a lot of people are interested in doing work, but at the same time, I hope I'm looking into this too, is that the communication, also the opportunities for parents. Sometimes not all the parents are aware. Sometimes we feel like that we have communicated to parents, but parents may not have received them. But so I would encourage or advocate for even a repeated communication, so that there's what the opportunities out there, so the parents, because for example, I'm a parent at one PS1 and 4, and they're looking for a class parent, and that's an opportunity and a volunteer opportunity. But then when people reach out to them, it seems like there's no response coming back to say, I want to volunteer, and then there's no response coming back to say, yes, you're here, and that here are the steps that you should take in order to become a volunteer. So it's kind of like they announce it, there's a volunteer, and then when we try to connect, say, hey, we're interested, then there's sort of the response, either no response, or there's a slow response. So that could be another area. Then I'll be very much, I can talk to Adriana afterwards too, because I think I saw in her presentation, class parents' participation is low. There could also be, it's not, I mean, there could be some areas that because parents are working and have hours, they have a lot going on, with each family. But at the same time, I do believe there's some areas such as communication, such as, repeated communication, maybe making it more visible, and not only just emails, but also maybe when kids are picking up, when kids are being picked up, maybe there's an opportunity to communicate to the parents too, or maybe putting sometimes the kids bring back a flyer about certain, for example, certain fairs. That could also be an opportunity for a child to bring back an opportunity for parents to be participating in school life. I think there are many potential opportunities that we can take advantage of to communicate or get the information out there better, and then follow up with the parents, especially when parents are interested, and then it'll be it will be a missed opportunity for nurture them for the delayed response to the parents. So that's another second item on my agenda that I wanted to bring that to the group's attention, and then to see if other members experience. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And yeah, time flies by so quick. Last time I was here, and this time we're here again. Yeah, but but these are the sort of more noticeable things that I took note of. Yep. Thank you.
Actually, the kinds of things we want to hear from the community, right? What's happening, because you have the ear of the district leaders here. And this is important to know what's happening at one school could be not in isolation, but happening across a district also. We want to make sure we are bringing all things to light. Member Julie Suh.
Hi, can you hear me? I think it can be brief. I supported an interview for a parent coordinator at Middle School 217. There was only one candidate interested, unfortunately, but so I participated in that one. And I'm happy to be supporting that process, because I think the parent coordinator is such an important role. a liaison between the parents and the school. What I'm hearing is, I think, Lou, you were alluding to, I couldn't hear you that well, sitting where I am at, but high school applications, the random lottery number, and some parents saying their number is really terrible. Then they went and applied and got into none of those schools, even though they did everything right. They listed 12 schools. So I know we are going to talk about that. Safety continues to be a concern at my daughter's school at PS 101 in terms of cars. Some of the culprits are actually parents of the kids in the school, which I just don't understand. Parents, please watch out for all the kids in the school by practicing safety when you are dropping off your child. Just that kind of like entitlement of I'm just going to pull right up anywhere and drop off my child. There's ongoing concerns about class size. So it was interesting to hear those data points, the stats that enrollment is down, but then, it just doesn't make sense to me because the class sizes are ridiculous. 32 plus for one teacher. So that continues to just be a concern in general. Parent engagement. Jay, glad you brought that up. I think that is one thing I'm really proud about my daughter's school, PS 101. We do have a lot of best practices on parent engagement, but we also struggle and we're coming up with new ideas all the time. And so recently we started social media. So we have this parent who's amazing. She started communicating through social media, just trying different ways to communicate because we were drowning in emails and not getting the kind of reaction we wanted. So hopefully there's something that we have a great parent volunteer who is the volunteer lead. So maybe you need to identify someone who will then coordinate all parent engagement volunteers. It's a lot of work and I know we all have jobs and she does too, but so we are trying new things, but we already have really good engagement. And that's about it. I'm trying to make it to SLT meetings for the schools that I'm a liaison, but it's hard to make it to that with work. And then I'm also on my daughter's PA board. So trying to just make it to all these meetings, it's kind of hard, but I will get
Thank
there.
you for trying. Thank you for trying. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Julie, and thank you for going through those parent coordinator meetings and filling in. We really appreciate it. Next, Quentin Mezitin.
All right, good. Let's go. Hello, district. I'm representing the D75, and I'm excited that we were able to come to a deal for this bus strike because that was very, very worrisome for a lot of our communities. Yes. That's some good news. There's always something to pick on the DOE for, but it was good to have some good news. And also the meetings that I want to take my hat off. I got some families that definitely gave me some good feedback from Principal Nicole and Parent Coordinator Sylvia Silvers from the 811, because they've been very, very engaging to the community, helping everybody get NYC school accounts set up, and just really, really letting a lot of people know how to navigate their IEPs and just the busing and just a lot of information. They've been doing above and beyond outside of the town hall meetings, really helping families just get the information. And they don't mind me sharing their information with anybody that comes to me for that information. So that was really, really cool. I could see the impact that they're making with the community, trying to make sure we're all on the same page. And that's some of the feedback I got. One of the things that I'm always kind of paying attention to when I see data, like earlier today from our superintendent, I'm always looking for the section for the D75 for 811, and I did see a mention on one slide, and then it was just like obsolete. So I'm always trying to see the connection to all these results and statistics and where it's going and how it's getting better for the people who like can't speak yet and who are, you know, not even at the level to read in their grade. How is that, you know, integrated with those results? And when you go to these schools where it's usually just a section for 811, for D75, it's like they have a whole different principal, they have a whole different PTA. So it's like if they're separated in schools, I would assume that the slides will have a little separation too, because usually we just go based on the IEPs. So I wanted to know, how does that relate to those statistics for our statistics? So that's just one of the things that I kind of was picking up on, because it's different, but in the presentation is always looking like it's the same. And one of the complaints that I got several, myself included, is parents are now getting notices that they do not receive the therapy that they should be receiving on their IEP. And that's just because there's so many students and there's not so many therapists, and they can't meet those IEP goals. IEP is a contract, so that's something that we expect to have. And it's usually, you know, an inconvenient way to kind of get those therapies. So I definitely want to know what the plan is to kind of get more help, so we do not have to send these letters to parents saying that we can't meet your goal, because that's scary to us when we also want our kids to get what they need so they could become more independent. But that's something we can definitely work on. That's my time.
Thank you, Quentin. Dr. Hall, anyone from your team here that has any information about those letters that's going on right now to parents, or like what's being done, or you want to respond to, your team wants to respond to Quentin's question directly to him? He can send us that question via email to your team and to get a response. How you want to handle that? You want to can someone make Dr. Hall a co-host, please? Yeah, I just asked her to unmute. There you go.
Okay, Quentin, if you can put your specific question in the chat, and then I'll respond to it there.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much. And and next we're gonna have is so this member is not here on excuse. Next we have a Simone Dornbach. Simone.
Evening, everybody. Okay, good. So I'm not yet assigned to a school, so I haven't been able to attend any SLT. I was invited to attend the PTA meeting of MS72, and it was a pleasure to be there and to see how school administration and parents work together. What I would like to share is I'm interested to know the flooding that we experienced last Friday. How many schools in our district were concerned, were affected, and yeah, I don't know if the district has any numbers, but I would really like to know. I do know from my own school, my kids' school, that there was a water leakage through the roof. So yeah, I don't know who is responsible, but I would love to know, and also find out like how can we support those schools to get those leakages fixed as soon as possible. I believe there was also some water in the cafeteria of PS 196. So if the district has any information, I would love to hear that. I would like to share that, and I only get the information yesterday. Tomorrow is the deadline to sign up for a free program from Queens Public Library, the STACS program. I'm going to share that in the chat. I saw that there are Queens Library locations that are I believe within our district. So parents, if you are looking for a good program for your child, sign up today or tomorrow. In addition, I just would like to say thank you to Senator Liu who always attends our meetings, or Sujin, thank you to you, and for initiating the small class size law. My family has been privileged to go to an elementary school, and because it's a district elementary school, they do have very small class sizes. My children have thrived there. I'm a big supporter of the new law, and I just want to say thank you. I know there's a lot of opposition from other parents, but as a family who had the privilege to attend a school with small class sizes, I can only recommend that this should be in every New York City public school. So my thank you for initiating that law, and also my support. And I also had the same question to Reba. Thank you for your presentation, but I was surprised about those numbers because I had visited Atwood Middle School last year. And what I heard and what I saw was something different. So I was just wondering from which year those numbers were. And also, I remember that back then the Blue Book was not accurate, and I just want to emphasize what Nafifa said earlier, to give more context so that it doesn't look like the school is struggling with enrollment. Otherwise, that's it for tonight. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Simone Dornbach, a returning member to the council. Thank you so much.
President BJ.
Simone is our second. So the
President
borough president,
BJ.
who is Donovan Richard, Queens Borough President, his office appoints 2 members to our council board, and Adriana Alicia was one of them, and so was Simone, who was appointed by the borough president to be on the council. So just so you know who the borough president appointees are, for your knowledge. We're moving along. We have Adriana Alicia. There she is. Who's next?
Can everyone hear me? Yes, we can. Fabulous. Okay, I have a few questions I have written down here, and a few points to share. I attended the PTA meeting, I'm pretty sure it's PTA meeting, at PS 139 last night. That is a very succinct meeting. I was very happy. They were in and out in like 35 minutes. It was great. In addition to that, like that's the fun part. So with respect to what Simone was mentioning about flooding, I would like to understand also how many of our schools experienced flooding, whether that was minor or major, and what the DOE's plans are with respect to examining those schools for things like mold, examining those schools for any other environmental toxins that may have seeped into the ground or seeped into the building materials themselves. We need to understand that. And we need to understand how we're going to deal with that going forward. Climate change is only going to get worse. Further to that, I think we need to start having lots of conversations about safety plans with respect to climate change. Many of the schools in our district last week did the best that they could, but across the district, many schools provided no communication. There were no comms, and the communications that were shared were sometimes inconsistent, sometimes spotty. They weren't available in all of the languages that were spoken by parents and families at that school or schools. And it's not something that we can just abide. We cannot just allow ourselves to continue failing at something like this just because it's new and it's not something we've done before. The time is now to understand what our safety plan and safety approach is going to be with respect to things like floods, things like massive snowstorms, etc. Next is a question that I've heard quite a few times about the rollout of our curriculum. Because we weren't I don't know the correct terminology, or I'm blanking on it, but because we weren't like a rollout one district, most of the materials that are being used are digital materials for the curriculum. So I would like to understand, or I guess understand what the plan is going to be when we're looking at our metrics for success next year. Are we going to take into account the fact that our children were using these materials or being exposed to these materials in a virtual format only? versus having the hard copy in front of them because we decided as a district to roll out early. And then let's see, lastly, second to last, with respect to general safety plans, I know that there is a level of secrecy that is required, and I respect that and I support that because you don't want the bad guy to know what the plan is, right? But parents need some information, and it's not acceptable to most of the parents and families in our district to have the answer be, well, it's a safety plan, so it has to be confidential. There are certain things that can be shared. There's information that can be shared with the community and shared with parents and families so that they're not, you know, kissing their kid goodbye and praying that their kid's going to come home. Do you know what I mean? We can do better. Last year, it was floated for us to have a safety town hall at CEC28, and I think that we should do that later this year. And then the last bit of conversation that's coming up over and over again is the need for additional Title I support. And that's not necessarily like from the district level, but parents also getting involved, showing up, and then taking leadership roles with respect to Title I. I think that's all the stuff I have on my little cards here. Oh, and one question for Reba. Hi, Reba. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Do you have any timeline for when the Blue Book is going to be updated?
Yeah, the 2022-2023 Blue Book, no, it drags a year, will be updated this fall. I don't have the exact date, but I can ask SCA if they have an update, but I think it's near public review. And I know there were other questions for me, but that one was directed to me, so I answered, but I can come back to the other one.
Thanks, Reba.
Yeah, we'll come back to all of our recurring questions and you can answer them in a lump sum. Okay, last but not least, I love saying his name. So Gurmurthy Kalyanaram, you're next.
Hi, thank you all. I'm a very new member. I didn't even know that council members report. So, but only thing I've heard is, I'm an educated conversation about this reading, how to measure reading competence, transition from this leveled books to more, I guess, organic approach. I've heard a lot of conversation. I haven't absorbed, and I think quite a few parents or even engaged parents a bit confused. But I have twin girls, and they got notes saying, "Congratulations, your kid is whatever the next level." So I think they're still using it, but I think it's a transition process. But that's an important conversation that's happening among parents with a certain level of anxiety and uncertainty. That's about. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. And now you know, next month, from now to next month, there's a lot of work you need to do. So, so you can report. Thank you so much. So now we're going to move to the public comment section. And we had a member who signed up online to speak, but then she made her way to the office, right? And she's here. So Venus Ketchum is here. So what we're going to do is do one in person, one virtual. So you have 3 minutes to speak, each speaker. So Venus, if you don't mind going by the television there so the community can see, we'll appreciate that. The camera is there. And you can do 3 minutes. Look at that, you got a podium and everything, Venus. Look at this. The camera is right in front of this computer there, right? No, the laptop. There you are. There you are. They're gonna unmute you. And then we're gonna ask Julie, can you do time check? 3 minutes. Thank you so much. It's 3 minutes.
Good evening. I don't feel like standing there. Anyway, good evening. Oh, I have 3 minutes. I'm so lucky. Okay, perfect. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear myself. Hi, good evening. I am Venus Ketchum, community education activist, community and parent leader in education. Back for the second month, I was here in person in September, back in October, encouraged parents to attend in person or via Zoom and engage and ask questions in the chat and sign up to speak. Our district should have at least 30 people speaking. And that always reminds me of there is no plan, and all that passion around the diversity plan and how much parents were engaged and how that has dropped off since 2020, 2021, 2022. Yes, we have 75 people in the chat, but we should have like a portion of those people speaking and asking questions and bringing up their concerns. And I see two ladies in there asking their questions. I want to make sure I get to my points. I was able to attend PTA meeting on Zoom for PS80 last night briefly, and I was able to attend like a pre-SLT meeting at PS354 who had like a temporary principal, and now they have another temporary principal. So I would love to hear more about the new leadership throughout the district at next month's meeting, as well as I was looking at the data because, you know, it got unembargoed last night. So PS80, with the President's Council presentation, what I saw was missing was schools on the South Side, schools like PS80, PS354, PS40, PS312. They didn't receive their stars or their shout out. So I'm wondering if there's an issue with engagement at those schools. I saw from last night that PS80 is one of the lowest performing schools in our district with 27.9% proficient in ELA and 35% proficient in math. And a lot of our schools on the South Side are below the city's new beautiful average that they like to promote. But my number one question is for Sonia, and what Sonia said at PS 354, which was the most extraordinary thing I've heard in 12 years. She said that SLTs are fully in person. The quorum must be met in person with 7 people. She said that you can attend on hybrid for extreme emergencies that the SLT will discuss and create in their bylaws. But the big question that I have that she said was that SLTs should still offer a hybrid link for the public. I want to see documentation around that. I know Adriana loves to do research, so I want to see if that is in writing, if that is in law. So when you explain that SLTs, while they must be in person, should still have a link available, whether it's Zoom, Teams, or Meet, to have the public be able to attend online so that we can hear what's happening at SLT without having to be in person. So my mind was blown. I had never heard anything like that in the 12 years. My son is now a senior in high school. I started attending my first meeting here in October of 2011. Okay, so please give me the answer to that question about Zoom links for SLT being mandatory.
Yes, I'd like to answer your question about the schools that were.
Thank you.
I don't want to answer that right now.
Oh, no, I do want to say,
I don't want to answer that now. I would love for that to be presented at next month's meeting. I don't ever want answers on the spot because I want you to get a chance to really gather, not you, anybody that's going to respond to me to gather their data. And it's not like, oh, I'm going to answer your question right now. I don't want to hear it. But I do want to hear about what Sonia said about the link for the SLT meeting being available for the public.
Understood. I would like to address the question of the representation in this slide deck that I put together. So the information, no, to the community.
Did I ask the question?
Sorry?
To the community that asked the
No,
question?
you asked the question, but I would like to address my answer to the community. So the information that was shared in the slide deck tonight is information that was shared voluntarily by the PA or PTA presidents or co-presidents from the schools that were presented. Those are the only school parent leaders that got back to me, and a lot of that information is from last year, because as you know, we're kicking off the school year still. They didn't have as much to present. So when I requested the information, the schools that got back to me are the schools that were included. That doesn't mean that they have low levels of engagement or anything like that. It's just who was able to get back to me with information to share.
Are you going to work on communicating with those other SLTs?
Yes.
Outside schools?
Yes, it is a very big focus of mine. Yes, that was the intention, and President's Council as well.
And I also need you to go over your liaison school so I can know who's assigned to what school. Because I've been to PSA, 354, MS72. I'm not sure who on the council is a liaison to those schools.
Understood.
As well as 312, PS40, PS140, PS160, PS48. So please make that public on your website so I'm clear on who I should reach out to.
Thank you, Venus.
Thank you, Venus.
Okay, so we move along to next is Adrienne Faya. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it.
Hi, no, I'm here. Yep, you had it.
There you go. Yes. Go
Yeah,
for
I'm
it.
here. You had it right.
The 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, perfect. 3
Sorry,
minutes.
Sonia, are you there? Are you able to unmute Sonia?
These are not part of my 3 minutes, right?
Hold on, sorry. Are you able to unmute Sonia?
I'm here. I'm able to unmute. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm trying, so I could definitely, I put it in the chat. I can share the links with the information that we've been receiving from FACE, from Central, and the state link, so I can absolutely share it with Venus. And also, I will try and put the link in the chat, not just for Venus, but it's for everyone to see. And the information that's shared with us, that is the information that I'm sharing out as well.
Thank you so much. So Adrienne Fire, go for it.
Sorry, I was struggling unmuting. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Oh,
can.
sorry. Okay. Thank you. I'm not sure if Dr. Blake is still on this call. I actually needed to direct this inquiry to him and then also to sort of present this as a scenario that's going on, that had gone on at 196. It was a concern for many families. And so I have one question and then I have another one that's actually more directed to the CEC. So I hope Dr. Blake is here. The 196 on Monday, the parents of 196 on Monday learned within the last 10 minutes of the day, probably within 10 minutes of the dismissal, that there was a shelter in place order, if you will, that was established for a significant percentage of the day. Students were not allowed to go outside for lunch. They had to have lunch, and as a matter of fact, inside their classrooms. They had some external activities they were able to do. It was picture day, as it happened to be. So they were able to participate in that, but for the majority of their day, they had to stay within their classrooms. We were alerted about this scenario 10 minutes before dismissal. I ostensibly because there was going to be police presence at the school, and they did not want to alarm any of the parents, is how it impresses me. There were many questions about what the circumstances were. We were repeatedly told that the school was not at liberty to discuss. What was ultimately determined was that the situation was not the situation that had been presented was not a credible threat. All right, that's fine. I understand. Schools have to adhere to FERPA laws, and maybe if this was related to a student, we were not going to get that information. So be it. The thing is that I have now, independently of myself, on 3 separate occasions have tried to communicate to the school and request from the school via some of our coffee and conversations that we host with the principal, via the PA at the PA meetings when the principal presents. What can parents be informed about an emergency action plan? New York City requires through the local law 26 that if you're an employee, you have to have at an office for a New York City office, you have to have an emergency action plan that you are informed about. It's part of our of New York City law. I understand that there are safety, there's information about safety and security that is not always presented to families. But this actually became the first time our parents witnessed something like this that actually really generated a lot of concern, and we are not getting any kind of information. And then it became a little bit more tenuous when many families went back to the school on Tuesday to pick up their children, and the police department was there. I reached out to the principal, and all I was told was they were here to be nice. I mean, I feel there's like a little bit of lip service there. I could have been told like, no, they're here to present, to promote security and present the school safely and to be able to protect the school. Fine, whatever. I'm not happy necessarily seeing the NYPD sitting in front of my school, but at the end of the day, the information that we're being provided is inadequate. I want at least an emergency action plan that's being described. If they put it in a PowerPoint, held a town hall meeting. Actually, there's been many calls for a principal's meeting just to address the situation. That would be great. But to ask repeatedly from the school to have some sort of demonstration and plan. Oh, okay. That's it.
We thank you so much. I'll give you like maybe a half minute just to wrap up, so you just wrap up your thoughts. Go ahead.
Me? Yeah, well, that was just it. My main request is to have some sort of presentation produced, something that the families can have to understand what keeps our students safe at school, what the emergency protocols are, have a little bit more information about that. If not, have a meeting, something to that effect. But I don't understand why we are not even being afforded general information, the general version of this information. And that's what I wanted to talk about.
Dr. Hall?
Yeah, so Thank you for sharing your concern. And I do want to say that in terms of a general safety plan, there is a public version of the safety plan that every school leader must create at the beginning of the school year. So we will speak with Principal Migliano and ask her to make the public version of the safety plan available to you and to the other families.
And I guess Adrienne, sorry, I actually on mute. What you can do also too is email. You know, we like to have things resolved, right? And have to be ongoing kind of thing, and really full circle. So thank you for bringing that concern here to the council and to this meeting. We're gonna put our email address on this platform again. Please email that concern and what you require, what you're asking, and then we forward this to the district office, and then we'll be in loop of question response. Is that fair?
Appreciate it. Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, parents, we are here for you. We in business. We want this what we want. You have a concern, we are here. We are your voices, parents. So thank you for the concern and bring them to us. Next we have here is Amir D. Bender, and he wants to speak. So he's at the podium at this time. Followed by Elizabeth Ziba. You're next.
Hello, my name is Amir. My name is Amir. I am a children's book author, and I work with a lot of schools within the New York City school system. And I actually created a book that actually helps children with their reading who suffer with dyslexia and different IEPs. That actually brings the book to life through devices. And then let me turn the volume. Yeah. Hold on. All you just have to do is point to the book. And so it actually narrates and animates the book for the kids as they read it. You can see it. And I'll show all the CEC members individually. And if you guys would like to, reach out to me, I'll be leaving my information in the chat with you guys. And that's it. Thank you very much. So it's between kindergarten and second. So, or 3K and second.
And you said you designed and created this idea. Yes. This is all your idea?
Yes.
Why? What's the inspiration?
So I wanted to actually create something for the children now, to actually help them with their reading as they grow up and everything. It's a very passionate mind, having to keep growing up and having those struggles with myself and not having the resources available.
Right.
When I was growing up, I want to make sure the resources available.
We love it. And the mayor has a big push to have all this happen. So the D28 is a great 20. So we make things happen. Watch it. The whole city can get this book. Watch.
I've been to many CC meetings.
Watch. This one is different.
This is actually my 8 so far.
So can we see it after? Can you mind if we see it after? Yeah. Okay. No, come please. Yeah.
Back him up what they did.
We want commissions. Latifa, please mark that down, please. And the minutes. Yeah. She can put in chat for us. Thank you so much. Okay. Next we're gonna call on Elizabeth Ziba. I'm gonna make you co-host to speak. Elizabeth, there you are. Hold on a second. I'm actually to unmute. Go ahead, Elizabeth. You should be able to unmute now.
Hello, everyone. I have a similar question regarding children with dyslexia and dyscalculia. I have one at PS 174 in Queens, and my child has recently been denied for services, which resulted in her failing the math test. I'm kind of wondering, what is the DOE doing in terms of offering those children services?
Okay.
That's the first question. Secondly, there's very low awareness in schools with regards to dyslexia and the help that we're being offered by the 544 coordinators, which probably there is by school basis, but in our school there's very low awareness, and we're not being helped with any accommodations whatsoever. Third, teachers are not being trained at all. Teachers were going to be trained as of April 2023. All teachers were to be getting introductory training. In our school, only one teacher got it. And third, and lastly, what about middle schools and high schools? I called our local middle school and they said they haven't heard of anything that they can provide my child with when she reaches middle school.
Okay, so thank you for your question. Dr. Hall, do you have any answers or at this point, or would you prefer this in an email?
If somebody can address it, please. It's a serious problem and a lot of children are being affected. I'm not a young parent. We are, asked to get private tutoring or go out of our way to get our children help. Why is that help not being offered in public schools?
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Zeba. And we continue to support students across our district with the varied needs that arise. And I do know your particular circumstance and question, and I do know it closely. So I do want you to know that where it comes to dyslexia screening, as you talked about, even our mayor has talked about the importance and the push around that work. So what we have done is begin the Science of Reading pilot in District 28, New York City Reads, where all of our teachers will be trained in the science of reading. Teachers, district leaders, school leaders, and that's the first step to be able to address the concerns specifically around dyslexia. The other part of your concern was around the 504 paraprofessionals. And I just want you to share with me specifically what's your question around the 504 supports and what that looks like for your child.
As far as, 504 coordinator not being, able to help me with what accommodations my daughter needs, even though it was suggested to them, accommodations were denied. Why is my child being denied services that she needs? That's the question.
Okay, so because it's becoming a little more personal around your specific child's needs, let's continue the conversation offline, and I'll put my email address in the chat, and I want you to feel free to contact me directly via email.
Sure.
All righty, thank you, Ms. Zeba.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Ms. Zeba, for bringing your concerns here. This is a kind of this is what we want. The parents, again, take this chance to speak. Don't be afraid to put your name there. No question, no comments, no concern. It's too much or too big or too small to be addressed here. Your concern is a concern for us. Next we have is Lynette Shelbourne, who is Garfield, who is from Speaker Adams' office, and she will address us now, followed by Jennifer Sobers and Bruce Zyhat. So Lynette.
Good evening. Good evening. What a rich meeting this evening. I don't want to hold up too long for the parents that need to speak and others in your education community, but I do want to bring greetings to your leadership, to the superintendent, and all the principals and families that are on the line. My name is Lynette Barfield, representative for New York City Council Speaker Adrian Adams. Just a quick few community-based bits of information. Certainly, I want to just bring you up to date with some legislation. At today's stated meeting, the council passed Intro 857A, which would expand current data captured by the Department of Education's reports to include special education services, including students in foster care or temporary housing. And I'll put the link for more information. Yesterday, Speaker Adams joined Parks Commissioner Chair Shakar Krishnan to celebrate $4.1 million in funding for urban park rangers. They provide environmental education, adventure programs, and other activities for all New Yorkers who visit our parks, including our students across the 5 boroughs. Also, at the September 14th stated meeting, the council passed a package of legislation to expand public pool access and swimming lessons for our students. And I'll send you the links for that. And then finally, in terms of legislation, great news for PS40, the ribbon cutting last week for the Jamaica Playground that reopened. So that's the that's some information for the community to embrace at this time. And like I said, I'll add links. But I wanted to share that we have satellite offices. We are providing more opportunities for families and communities to come out and meet with constituent concerns. We have Tuesdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at South Jamaica Cornerstone. On Wednesdays, we have extended hours in the office. We have virtual attorneys will provide assistance on eviction, fraud, landlord, tenant issues. The Office of Speaker Adrian Adams District Office will have extended hours as well. So, and then on Thursdays, we'll be at South Ozone Park, Queens Public Library. Again, I shared all of this information with the administrator, CEC administrator, so she could send out flyers if you like. And of course, you can always get them from us. Two quick events. Speaker Adams is hosting with the American Museum of Natural History a free family discovery day on Saturday, November 4th. And then finally, Speaker Adams is hosting, and she invites you to South Ozone Park Community Resource Fair. There'll be a resource fair to get information on quality of life resources from New York City agencies and community-based organizations. And so those are all of our events and information. Thank you. And I'll put some information in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynette. You know, it's a lot of information in 3 minutes. We thank you for being here. Look there, let me see you. There you are. Finally, that amazing face. There you are. All of you wonderful community members, put your cameras on. You know, it feels lonely in this room without seeing your faces. So please share your faces. We missed you. We love your faces too, you know. Speaker Adams, give her regards. Thank you for all the funds she gives to this district. All the resume funds that she does send over and over. We are grateful and we reach out to you to have your present and just be here with us at one of our meetings. Thank you for what you do all for that. Thank you so much. Okay, next we have is Jennifer Sobers. Your time is up. I'm starting now. Go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm a Jamaica resident with students in Forest Hills and Rego Park, and I'm interested in test scores and education generally across Queens. The disparity in the scores that I saw today is alarming. I saw today that PS 144, for example, has proficiency of 84.8% in math and 74.7% in ELA, and the school I'm zoned for, 354, has 34.1% in math and 33% in ELA. My other daughter attends Halsey with 73.2% in math and 73.3 ELA, while my zone school, Redwood, has no information for the math and 38% for ELA. Dr. Blake said he is, quote, tonight he said he is, quote unquote, aware of disproportionality. This is not disproportionate. This is gross disparity, which is totally unfair. No parent should have to feel like they have to trek their young children far away from their homes in order to take them to school or seek out private schools or charter schools. So I'm urging the superintendent, the chancellor, and mayor to provide solutions that take into account that something extra is needed for underperforming schools to reach the same levels. And if there are things that the parents and activists need to do, please let us know. And I trust that principals are also vocal about what they need. Ms. Reba presented data about lowest demand and highest demand schools. And there can be no question that test performance data plays an important part in decisions that parents make about schools. Certainly, there are other important factors. But what extra then will be provided to these schools to improve their scores and their situation? It's not enough to just note these disparities and proceed as usual year after year after year. Ms. Reba also asked tonight how parents felt about schools. Well, I just wanted to give an example about Halsey, for example, where one of my girls go. I like the education is excellent. The principal and the administration is extremely responsive. The school is pretty safe, and there's a focus on enrichments other than academics, which is amazing. And I think that all of these things can happen in all schools in Queens, no matter the location. And if it takes extra resources to help the schools reach those levels, then that is what's necessary. As parents, we should want all children No matter where they live, no matter their race, ethnicity, or socioeconomic status, they are our future leaders. We should want them to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure if you heard that, but all the councilors were cheering and clapping and saying yay. But thank you so much for bringing your concerns. And you know, I think we did have a discussion, a town hall on this by itself to address the disparities and to understand why. Because it's not just like it's not money, it's not that. What is it? What is it? And really get serious about it, right? So let's talk more about this, Sharon. So thank you so much for always being present, bringing it up. Thank you so much. Last but not least, Bruce Zyha, you have the floor next, sir.
Good evening, everyone. So it's great to be here with all of you. I heard some really important issues that have been brought forth this evening, and yes, warrant much further discussion on them. I want to let you know that the UFT is working on providing students, families, and educators with a variety of programs this particular school year during the 2023-2024 school year. We have the closest of two upcoming events would be that the UFT is a big participant in the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk and Fundraiser. And we raise a good deal of money for this particular charity for breast cancer research, advocacy, and patient services. We welcome you to join us at Flushing Meadows Corona Park on Sunday, October 15th for the walk. We also are providing an anti-bullying student conference for middle school students. And I have invited small groups of students from all of our middle schools in our district to participate. And at this particular conference, our middle school students will learn how to identify and prevent bullying at school. As Dr. Blake also mentioned, the UFT and the District 28 office, including Dr. Blake, Dr. Benoit, Sonia Rueda, we're working on developing a number of workshops and programs for our educators, for our students, and for our families in the district. So stay tuned for those. And thank you to the CEC, and have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, Bruce. And feel free to also send us any of your flyers that you have. We will gladly post them on our website or community part of the website, please. And thank you for all that you do, Bruce. Thank you for being present. Like, honestly, like you don't just show up, right? You are a partner, and we really feel that. And I want to acknowledge that. And thank you for that.
Anytime, PJ.
So, dear community, the time was 9:02 p.m. We covered all the speakers who want to speak and make comments. And I think tonight's meeting was very robust, and it really challenges us to think beyond numbers and data that's being presented. What do they mean, but also what do they mean for the future, right? And if there are patterns that's been happening, how can we address them? So this time, Reba, the floor is yours, and we have to please address what you remember, and we'll also allow people to really have a question and answer thing for you if time permits. Let's see. But we want to keep this like 15 minutes, right, to max, because we have business to take care of as a council. So Reba, go for it.
Sure. Thank you for everyone's questions and for passing the floor back to me. First, I'll answer what was Principal Katan Brown's question about the Redwood Middle School enrollment. The data presented here, which it does say on the screen, but I should have said out loud, and I acknowledge that, is that this data is audited register from last school year. It doesn't show live data from this school year, as that is still fluctuating as happens in the first couple weeks of school. So we'll update data when audited register comes out, or unaudited register comes out first in the next couple weeks. So this is last year's data in terms of current enrollment. And their enrollment is up this year. It was up last year. The trend that I pointed out is over the last 5 years. So the school definitely is making improvements. And it is in that bottom 25% list, which is something that we flag. It doesn't mean that there's an issue or something that we need to necessarily do or change, but it is something that's a data point that is across the city, something that we've been charged with highlighting, but definitely is not this year's data. And to Latifah's point and what Simone echoed about it having additional context, that's really important feedback, and I take it. And similarly with Jamaica Children's School, what Latifah said about it being recently phased in is true. The limitations of being a co-located school is true. And what we're looking to do is, whether it's come up with strategies or even just acknowledge that sometimes schools with smaller enrollment do have budgetary challenges, whether the DOE is causing it or not, is something that, like, I think we're, again, kind of charged with exploring. So Jamaica Children's, I know at one point last year, there were conversations about a potential merger with PS40. The school communities were not interested in that, so we discontinued that plan or that conversation. There was a lot of feedback. So just kind of like sharing the data as a jumping off point, but also definitely should have shared more context about those two schools. The question that Quinton asked, and then Venus echoed in the chat about where the District 75 programs are, I did write those in the chat under one of Venus's comments. There are about 8 schools in the district that have co-located District 75 programs, and there was an ask that be clear that these schools are separate schools with separate principals in co-located buildings with District 28 schools. So I shared that list in the chat and the list of where there's ASD programs at, which stands for Autism Spectrum Disorder. There are programs at 354 and a new one opened at 206 this year, and definitely always looking for more ASD programming and space for D75. And that's a big piece of this report that I did not dig into, is the D75 seat need, which I'm happy to pull back up. I did answer the question about the Blue Book, but I'll expand a little bit to just say that the Blue Book is something that the School Construction Authority publishes. It is and I actually have in my slideshow, which I think is helpful. I can just share my screen again one more time for a moment, just definitions for some of the terms that I'm using. So building capacity is something that my office talks about a lot, which is how much space a building has in terms of number of students. The Blue Book is a document that is published, but to several people's point, it does lag a year. So it's something that we look at and then dig deeper into by doing walkthroughs of buildings and by applying current enrollment to the capacity number when we're looking at utilization of a building. And then the footprint is the amount of space in terms of rooms that schools are entitled to. So these are some of the, what I have on the screen here, some of the language that I used and that other people question, and just want to make sure that folks have these definitions, that when we're talking about capacity and utilization, this is what I'm referring to. And I think that was by and large the questions. If I missed anything, please, VJ, let me know. Or other questions too.
Thank you so much. What I'll do at this point is I want to ask the public, if you have a question on topic about Reber's specific presentation, you can just raise your hand. I'll call you in that order if you have a question specifically about that. Okay. Venus, go for it. I think so. Can you hear Venus, Reba?
It was a little echoey, but I could hear her faintly.
Take off your microphone there. Okay. Okay, I'll take mine here.
Reba?
Hi, Venus.
Hey, I don't know those schools that you mentioned. A lot of those schools, 690. Could you share with everybody the D75 programs? I know P4 at PS48, and I know 811 at 140. Some other schools you mentioned, I never heard of 314. Where is that? The schools that you commented on my comments? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
Yeah, we didn't hear you. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, 690 is high school for law enforcement. I did include high school programs when I listed the D28 buildings.
Okay.
314 is, and I did use building codes, which I realize is maybe not super helpful. 314, and I can send this list to you on email so folks have it, is the building that has Queen School for Leadership and Excellence, which is 349, and MS 358. So I mentioned 314 is the building code. I have to look back at my list that I sent. Just scrolling up. Or I can look at the list that I cited. 686 I listed. Of course, my systems are shutting down. 142 is the Judith K. High School building. 686 is the building that has Mel's and Queens Metropolitan High School. 48, 72, 277 is the 182 building. And I think I listed another one that's also 182. They have an annex, so I listed that one twice. And I think that's it. But yeah, I used building codes. Sorry about that.
She said thank you. And
Thank you.
I didn't see her or hear her, but I record that. And thank you.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so folks, again, this is not the end of these kind of questions, right? If you have these kind of questions, our email address is on the chat feature. Please use that, send it to us, and we will definitely forward it to Reba team to address your concerns, right? And Reba, thanks for doing a great job always and really being transparent and really
Sure, I'm happy, to stay, to come back. Definitely want to, I think this has been said multiple times that the data is so important. And I appreciate the context that you all share too. It definitely helps us understand what we're seeing. So thank you all for having me and engaging.
And I wanted to touch really here. I wanted to really quickly on something really that PS 99 and the 6th grade being annexed from the
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
that.
Yes, so at PS 99, which is a K-6 school, we had heard from the SLT at the end of last year that they were interested in potentially truncating, which means removing the 6th grade. And that would go through A190. There would be an EIS. That would be a public process that gets voted on by the PEP. We had a meeting with the SLT in September, and they said that there was some interest in this because a lot of 6th graders are already leaving. Their 6th grade has pretty low enrollment. And just for some of the families, like entering at 6th grade and going through the admissions process and going to middle school for 6 to 8 makes a lot of sense. But the school didn't want to pursue this for next year because they did have, so we were planning on pursuing this and posting a proposal and going through the process. But last week we had some follow-ups with Principal Sforza, and the school wants to not pursue this for next year because they want to wait for more guidance on the class size law implementation and the budgetary impacts that will come with that. So we're actually, for right now, not going to move forward with that proposal, at least for this fall. We had thought if the school wanted to do it, that we could do it in the fall before the middle school application closed so that families would be aware of that change. So that's no longer on like the upcoming PEP agendas, but it is something that we definitely, should we want to pursue that change, would go through the A190 process on. And I know this is now late in the agenda. I'm happy to come back another time, but if anyone here has any feedback on that or any thoughts on that, it would also be really helpful for future planning. I know we made this change at PS 101 a couple years ago. And at that point, they only had one 6th grade class. So it's definitely, you know, data informed, and in terms of the fact that a lot of 6th grade students are already leaving, and that there are 6th grade seats at nearby middle schools that could accommodate these students if 99 didn't have 6th grade. But it is the type of change, again, that goes through would go through a formal proposal, but we didn't even get there. We just heard feedback from the school that they didn't want to, that they were no longer interested in doing that for next year. But if y'all have if the CEC or anyone has any feedback or thoughts on that, whether now or at a later time, definitely would be interested in that.
With the interest of time, what I'll say is that if in the future, such things are coming up in the district, that we would love to know ASAP. We don't want to know from parents or from anyone else. And you have been very transparent with us. You have. And I want to push that. And I would like to make sure we say as a council, we are the voices of the community, and not the community knows about everything. We want to be the space, if it's a special meeting or whatever, to have feedback from the parents. Okay, so that's what my request would be in the future if this ever comes up, anything like that at all. Thank you so much. Okay, so folks, the time now is 9:15 p.m. We have to be out of this building in an hour. And we have a lot to get through in our business meeting. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's a great meeting, a lot of information happening. And continue to be vigilant. And the mayor said, New York City says, you see something, say something. Say it here. Bring it to us here. Reach out to your council members. And you're going to know very soon who your liaison members of the council are. We are your voice. Please reach out to us. Tell us what's going on. Advocate for you. The time now is 9:16 p.m. and it's calendar meeting for October 2023 is adjourned. Thank you so much. We are going to be having our business meeting right now, right after here, in 5 minutes. So please, if you want to stay on for that part of the meeting, you can stay on, but you can't speak. You can listen in. If you want to hear us deliberate about the council business, we'll be discussing our budget that many parents have questions about, and we're discussing CEC liaisons for the schools, and we're going to be discussing also the potential vacant seat on the council. We're going to focus on that. So good night, everyone. On council members, it's 9:16. Let's start 9:20, please.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, look!
I miss you guys.
Miss Dean, we miss you.
I see a representative that looks like me, which is good.
Yes.
And she sounds like me too.
October 5th, 2023. Time now is 9:23 p.m. and this is our CEC28 business meeting. This point in time, this meeting is going to be considered in session, and Quentin is getting a selfie. That's great. And then Nuran's getting a selfie also. But we're gonna do Natifa, roll call, please.
President, let me restart it is restarted. President Vijayaram Jackson. First Vice President Luzao.
Excuse.
Excuse.
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry.
Second Vice President Nuran Swapna. I'm here. Treasurer Utah Chair. Here. Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis. Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis. I'm here. Sorry, hunger does things to people. Member Quentin Mezitin. Member Simone Donbar. Member Adriana.
Here.
Here. Member Jalen. Member Jalen. Member Khaled, yeah. Just for the recording purposes, I want to make sure I call your name correctly. Talia Naran Gurmati.
Thank you so much, Recording Secretary Lewis. So we have a lot of council members. We have a lot to cover, and we are asking each of you, please, for your full attention in the next 20 minutes so we can get through more, because we've been pushing things back every month, and it's going to affect this council and the community at large in a very detrimental way. So I'm asking you all, please, for your cooperation to get it done tonight as quick as possible. Minutes, can we share the minutes, please, really quickly? Again, we don't vote on minutes, we just make a motion to approve. This was emailed out to everybody. I make a motion to approve the minutes. Okay. Anyone else? Good? Okay, minutes approved for the month of September 29, 2021, 23. Can Vice President, First Vice President Luzal, can you please go over their absences, please?
So for absent last, I'm sorry.
Where's your camera?
I think I have camera on, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So so for absent last meeting, we have one absent. VJ is absent. Do you wanna apply for excuse?
No, my absence was unexcused, and after that, I'm happy with being on it. Not happy, but it's unexcused.
Okay. So thank you, VJ. To follow, our bylaw, closely. So let's, so we should notice this absence is excused. And do we need to discuss, Adriana's, virtual attendance?
So in terms of Kalyana, can you Narayan? No, Gurumurthy, can you please mute your thing? Mr. Gurumurthy?
Yes.
Can you mute your?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. So yeah.
Sorry.
There it is. Yeah. So in terms of Adriana's presence last meeting, she was present but not excused because it was not notified to us that she was not going to be in person. And our bylaws does say that you have to give us notification if there's an extreme circumstances happen so we can approve it. So for that reason, I will make a motion to adjust the minutes or to move to make that her presence last month unexcused.
I think that's what it says.
You wanna mute? You wanna mute? You wanna unmute?
Oh, no. It was the update on there, but it's written in not forwarded on that. Yes, no, I agree, definitely. Oh,
Sorry. Yes, no, I'm fine with VJ's suggestion.
Okay. So then I second that. So the Adriana's attendance last meeting will be marked as unexcused. And for this meeting, I'm attending virtually. I forgot. Do I need to submit a form too, or just verbally?
Yes, please submit the form. And
I have to submit a form. Okay, so I'll submit a form a little bit later, so we can vote on next meeting.
Yes. Anyone else besides Christine that is not supposed to be here, all right? Just Lou. So just submit your form so that we can vote on that next month, whether it was excused or not excused. That's the main thing, right?
Right.
Thank you.
So for the member, what's her name again? Christine, right? Christine. So although we voted last month, but we know that we need to pass a resolution. So right. I also moved, make motion, to mark her absent last month as unexcused.
Anyone second that? Second. Okay, Adriana second that.
Okay, so I think that's all the business for absence.
Thank you so much. I would like to discuss that really quickly with everyone. So according to our bylaws, you missed 3 meetings unannounced, no notice, nothing like that. Your seat is up for removal. vacancy. And but before we do that, we do notify the member, which the administrative assistant did do that. Reach out to the member, say, hey, your seat is up for, you know, to vacate your seat. We didn't get a response. After the last resolution was passed, at the last meeting, I did reach out. The AA did reach out to her, and she did respond back, but it was a personal issue that's going on with her. And I responded to her again and again. Please, please, please reach out to me so I can discuss with you privately and let you know that this is going to happen. But you have to let us know what's going on. So at this point, I'm trying to make a judgment call, but because it's a personal, very, very personal situation happening with this member, and she expressed that we have no choice but to vacate the seat because now it's the fourth meeting, no show, no excuse, no presence. On those grounds, based on our bylaws, I make a motion to let's vote on the resolution that was presented at hand. Second, anybody? Can you put the resolution on the screen, somebody?
Yeah.
While that is being pulled up, I want to make it very clear to all the members. I'm sorry, I want to see the members. Like, I don't like to see who's not. I don't feel none of it. I want to make an appeal to all of you, council members. This is what our council looks like. This is what it looks like here. It's once a month, and we have to make it work somehow or the other. And I want to thank the members who had situations and really made the sacrifice. And this is why you were elected. This is what shows. This is what you showed with our mask on, with us being separated, without being here alone. But this is what we signed up for. It's not easy, and we all have families and jobs and you name it. But again, the bylaws does provide a space for exceptions, but it shouldn't be the rule. It should be the exception. And I think we should all be very conscious of that and really live up to that. Julie, thank you for being here in your situation, etc. And we appreciate that. And thank you to Jalen, to Ron, and I'm happy your family members are okay. And also to Adriana for understanding also. But feel free, having said that, feel free if you have a situation that you can't make it. This is what it's here for, to really use it for that, right? Your health and your wealth and your family is most important. That's it. But that's all I want to say about that, please. What's up? Okay. Battery is dead. It's dying.
Okay. No, this is
I don't show the screen there. That's okay.
No, it's fine. So the resolution states, whereas New York State Education Law Act 52-A, Article 52-A, number Section 2590 provides that a member of the Community District Education Council who refuses or neglects to attend 3 meetings of such council, of which he or she is duly notified, without rendering in writing a good and valid excuse, therefore vacates his or her office by refusal to serve. And whereas the law further provides that after the 3rd unexcused absence, the Community Council shall declare a vacancy to the Chancellor. And whereas Christine Sacrosanto has, without providing in writing a good and valid excuse, missed 3 meetings as follows: July 6th, August 3rd, and September 7th. Therefore be it resolved that CEC28 hereby declares to the Chancellor that a vacancy exists on the council. And pending vote, this will be duly adopted by CEC28 on October 5th, 2023.
I'll ask you to please do a roll call.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop my share for a minute and just do roll call. First Vice President Luzau.
Yes.
Second Vice President Nurun Swapna.
Yes.
Treasurer Yuta Ochai. Yes. Recording Secretary Natifa Lewis, yes. Member Quentin Mezitin. Member Simone Donbach. Yes. Member Adriana Alicia. Yes. Member Julissa. Yes. Member Jalen. Member, I'm gonna get it without looking it up shortly. Member Talia Naran, who GK. Yes. Yes. And President Vijay Ramchattan.
Yes.
So by unanimous vote of all members, the resolution is adopted.
Okay. So that means council members that we have a vacancy in the council. That means we will post a posting up, and please share the word far and wide to everyone to apply. After which, depending on how many applications we get either form a committee to interview, like break down into interviews and bring 2 or 3 members to the council. If we get a lot, if we have one only, then FACE will send it to us. FACE screens everyone first, then sends us who is eligible, and then we will determine from there. Goal is to have a member by next meeting. That's the goal. But we have to see who applies, how they apply. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Great. Good job. We move along. Thank you so much. Thank you, Recording Secretary Nativa Lewis. Next we have to do is, so we voted on that. Absentee forms was done. Middle School, High School, Town Hall, vote on vacancy done is that. Council minutes is done. Okay, school liaison list. This is top priority at this meeting. Can we please bring that list up over here? We have to get engaged at this point. I know we've been doing it here and there. The schools are looking for us. They have grown used to having a liaison for the school. So Mr. Gurumurthy, just so you're aware of what's going on. Each council member, we have like around 36 schools in our district, more or less, right? And then we have each council member takes like 3 or 4 schools where you are the liaison from the council to that school. What that means is you will, as best as you can, attend these SLP meetings, advocate for them, be there as their contact. Hey, what's going on in the school? I'm your contact. Let me know what's happening. As you could hear today, many members spoke about, I went to my liaison school, I did this, I did that. So you will be the point person for that school when it comes to graduation at the end of the year. And we were giving out our popular high school graduation certificates. You will be the one to go to the school and really represent the council and give that. It's really an amazing bridge to build from you, the council member, to the schools. And we also ask that you do not choose a school that your kids go to. It's kind of like a conflict of interest kind of thing. So you have another school that is also, don't only choose school around your house. Like really being a council member is to know the district, to know the schools that represent across the district. And this has worked successfully over the years, this model. So we have a list of schools here. We have some schools that people are already here. What are next steps after we select the schools? Our AA will, she's a name, Dorinda will, sorry, I apologize. Dorinda will send a list out to the schools and say, hey, Mr. Ramjan, this person is your liaison, and they'll exchange information with you, the principal, and the parent coordinator. So you are directly with you'll be part of the school's emails to know when it's SLT meetings, when it's this, when it's that. So you can also attend and really be involved and really know your school and your principals, advocate for them, and encourage them to be here at the meetings as well. Any questions about this process here, anybody? Can 2 people be part of the same school? Yes. Can someone say, well, I really like that school, but you're already the liaison? So you can partner and be the liaison for the same school. But does that mean you're going to have one less school? You're taking on an extra school on your list. So if we have one, how many members do we have here? 9? Today, 9? 8? 10 on board right now, plus 1 is oncoming, right?
No, 11.
11.
11
11 plus 1 more is 12, right? The person who's coming. So 12 schools, the 36, right? 12, 4, 3 schools, plus we have the elementary, high school bracket of schools also. We have a few, like 40 total.
Actually, just a little bit more, because as Francis made the point last time, we were not really focusing on our
75 schools. Perfect.
So there's enough like we can have
about 4 or 5, depending. So can we go through the list here right now? So let's see which school is not represented. Utah have. Can we make? Okay, here we are.
So
go ahead, Antifa. Go ahead. So I had asked Antifa before this meeting if she can be a person to really spearhead this liaison to the schools. It's a lot of work in terms of managing all this stuff as president, as doing wall. So I'd like to share up a little bit and ask you all for help. Nativa has been a big champion about this process with the liaison. She goes to a lot of them, and also she has a lot of knowledge of how to liaise with the schools. So I will, if you all agree, if you guys okay, if she could become like one of the key person to questions, comments, how do I navigate the liaison process? Anyone object to that? Okay, go for it. The floor is yours. The floor is yours, Natifa.
That's So Utel had put together a spreadsheet. I think you had sent another document, Adriana, and I couldn't find it. Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking for. If you can, yeah.
Can we share it up there or no?
Yeah, you can totally share it.
Yeah, so yeah, you can just share. Yeah, you can share.
The link is in our WhatsApp.
Oh, it wasn't the WhatsApp you sent it. I was searching my email.
That's what I have learned over the
You
years.
think I'd know better?
Keep it.
Never long enough.
There you go.
So, whoops. Yeah.
Perfect.
So there were a couple of us who returned from last year and had some schools, and during the first part I think we had mentioned that we were okay with, for the most part, keeping those schools, and a couple members had also selected some of the schools. So this list on the side here is all the schools, right? Does that include the 6 to 12s as well?
Yes, but it does not our co-located.
Do we have a list of that? So we know 811.
But they're not
Do you know
on
any
the
others? Anyone know?
I took a screenshot of the income provided by Viva. I'll cross-reference it.
So at least let's get these out today, and then we add the after.
Okay.
Okay.
Is Yeka on there? I think it was, there's one that's a 6 something, 6. Oh, okay, it just is further down, 8, 9, okay.
Let's start training.
All right, so we have, so far VJ has 3 schools, Lou has selected 4, Naroon, Jalen, Simone, Adriana, and we also need to add GK. So from the schools that are selected there, do you have you looked at some of the schools within the city, not within the city, but within our district, that you have a partiality to, you know, maybe you've had a relationship, as long as it's not a school that your child is attending, you can start with that, and then we can filter down the list. And the liaison list, while we do want to create that relationship and have it last throughout the part, you know, it's not, you're not like signing a marriage certificate. If there's a need conflict wise or whatnot for you to make a modification or add or switch with a member, that's okay. So we're
I need
okay
to help
do
you.
that.
Like it doesn't mean like you and you alone. Like if you have something happening in school, you can't go. We'll help you out, right?
Somebody
Also,
else would do it.
you become the person who's going to do a walk through the school. We have to do what you call the budget things,
Yeah, the
capital funds. You will be the person to let us know what do you need? An advocate for them. That's really, really helpful. And we have documentaries also for that. That's just a way to do it, like let's do one like round for each person who doesn't have a school. So that way everyone gets one round, a second round, third round. So where they get school that they want.
So if they get school they want.
Okay.
Keep hands up.
One of four, now my daughter is going, so that just I asked her and one school I can continue to take. I haven't to be very honest. I have failed to make contact. There was no engagement, even though I have reached out several times.
Let us help you.
Nothing coming back. But the 3 schools in addition that I selected, and the 2 because I.
Let's give someone that's your first choice.
What are the numbers?
First choice of all.
Which one?
I 72.
Okay.
I went to Bible school. I saw that it was not selected, and so I took what she had. So that
No, yet, only one for now. Let's give other people a chance.
All right.
We gotta go faster, please.
Okay, so just right. So just to keep it in order, I'm just gonna go from how it's listed on here. So Naroon, can you select your first school?
Does it have to be like middle school or it could be PS?
It could be either.
Yeah. Is PS 121 taken or no?
PS 121, is
Go ahead.
it taken?
Available.
It's available, okay. All right, Jalen?
I can't repeat, right? It's 101. Is it?
Yeah, 101 for
So
now.
let's
Yeah.
start initially and then you can always double up after.
Oh, it's taken.
Which one?
190.
I have that.
Oh, yeah. What's left?
That's Russell, which one's 190? What, Russell?
99. Okay.
PS 99? Okay.
Can I remove 144 because I picked all schools near me?
Okay, we'll come around to you. Let's just go to.
Well, take it out. So that way it's available.
Take it out, that way it's available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, Adriana?
I would like to take 49, which is pretty sure it's still here.
Okay. And GK?
Anything for the school staff, except the 196, 144, 303, heard of policy.
144?
So this is a good opportunity to get to know some of the schools that you don't know.
144.
Okay.
144.
It'll be 144. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. So back to Narun. No. Yes. Back to Narun.
You have to choose 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, choose 3.
Okay, what is the
You know. So you know. Okay.
Is PS 50 taken?
PS 50, not at first glance. No.
50? Can I take it?
Okay. Jalen?
Where is that school? Is it also up close to
167
this
is mine. That's
wide.
That's Mel's. That's Mel's. I have Mel's.
Is that no?
No. Wait. It was.
It's on the Google.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thinking already. Yeah.
Oh, Quentin took 169.
Which one?
We gotta go. Come on.
Which one?
Just choose. It's okay.
Look, but the ones that are already, we have schools that have not been selected at all. So rather than just barter over the schools that are already selected, can we go from the list that's not there?
332. Or 233. He's gonna take 196 from me, then MS 217, since I already helped with the.
Right.
Okay.
Pick up 196. Yeah, the one Grand Central, you can take that one. And then I'll take MS 217 and MS 157. Replace. I'm sure I'm gonna go fast, come on.
Yeah, we have to.
MS
What do we have to do with
217.
We're gonna talk about it. All right. Simone?
284.
Done. Nero, look at the next school.
Yeah, I was looking
Look at the next school.
I have no idea what.
We can assign you. That's no problem.
So is that's a school on 101?
I'm sorry, which number you said?
Miss Simone, I don't see it through you.
I may have missed it, but went through all of our lists. I looked at.
Okay, we start it for now, and just we can. Okay, we can add that one.
You just said, okay. And Adriana? Adriana, I think you put it on yours instead of hers.
Is PS 55 taken? Then that could be my third.
Oh.
Is that a school that end of 108 and then what is that?
That's PS 220 and it's already taken.
Okay, and
But guys, we have to take schools across the district, right? Let's take to both
Maybe
sides.
I don't drive. I mean, what I mean, if there is something actual public transportation, I take that.
But still, because I don't drive either, and MS-72 is all the way in the south, but
How can we have those discussions
about,
with children avoid school?
I hear keys.
because the children. All right, listen, we have 10 minutes. So what's the next one?
PS55 is.
Hold on, who are we on?
No, I think you're referring to me, right? I think I'm the one who. You're going to school weekends.
It doesn't drive, it's like, I understand you.
That's not, but that's. Be able to move around the district. I don't know.
Let's go, folks.
But sometimes, you know,
So,
like,
okay.
people's scheduling, it doesn't permit them to go and because school hours are open in certain hours. And over here, we all have jobs and other things, you know,
Can
so.
we try? Can we try this? Sign one, try see how it goes, and we can revisit. Is that fair?
Yeah, so, I'm missing, which was Simone chose 284, Adriana, which one was yours?
I don't have any, I only one.
Right, so start looking at your list and give us schools.
I don't know the schools.
So that's, okay, can we assign you? Can we assign the schools for you?
Yeah. A little bit better. I don't mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take 55, PS 55.
You know.
I don't see
Take
it.
175, it's not far.
Okay. Okay, thank you. For the next one.
Quentin has it.
Never mind, 174?
Well, sorry. Okay. What I was gonna say, you know what?
I think 174 is also near.
I can go. It's a
5 school.
174.
But we're talking, look, we have schools for the people who are coming from that other, there's about 8 of you who are from Forest Hills. There's a district, we have minutes.
There is no.
Okay, but for those who have a car, it's hard to get there. You have to pay $25. So we take public transportation to go into your area.
Like, it's not easy.
The schools are having things, they want a liaison. We're in October. Capital funding, it needs to be done by December.
I think someone needs to take 174.
What did you suggest?
174.
You 174. She said.
Funding, done.
Yes,
144, 174. Can we assign him a school in South, please? What school is in South? Okay, let's put 55.
55, Narun asked for.
Okay, so 55 is gone. Let's put that there. New 155.
All right, what do we have left?
354.
354, Lou, Lou has 354.
Okay, what about another school?
358, who has 358?
Nobody?
Nobody
GK.
has 358, GK?
What is that?
358.
Is PS 355 or?
2 minutes.
358, you said?
Yeah.
Just wrapping up.
Oh, MS.
MS or what?
358 is, yes.
Okay, so it's now 9:55, folks. Thank you.
I'm just 144, 174, 350.
That was
Yes.
164.
Now,
I have access. I posted in, I reshared.
okay, so, okay, folks, excuse me, please, folks, excuse me, please. Okay, it's 9:54. So we made good progress today. Tomorrow is the deadline that we have to finalize this list by tomorrow. So Monday morning, first thing, Dorinda can send out emails to the schools, letting them know who the liaisons are.
Now, I think I'm sorry. So we need to get this act together here. Latifa, can you be the one to reach out to people who don't have a school and work with the GNS list and finalize that list with them one-on-one over the phone?
Okay, I don't, but Adriana, you didn't put in your and Simone's, because you chose a second school. It's not.
No, I think something I didn't choose the second one, but I'll go into my ad.
Questions. How many schools we have to be part
At
of
least
that?
3, minimum 3. But at this point, I mean 4, because we have the other schools that Quentin mentioned. So look at the list that we have here and go to the list. Okay, this time now is, I'm here. Where is it?
Where's the list, huh? But we need to receive.
Okay, so the time now is 3:54 p.m. We're gonna have to 9:54 p.m. We have to discuss that. We're gonna table.
Because Dorinda needs to be able to buy
Budget, let's
stuff.
do it quickly. Go ahead. Utah budget. Let's do it.
All right, I think most of the members have access to the, sorry, hold on. You will not be trained to figure out what it's out. Anyway.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Let me quickly share my screen. So as we were discussing earlier, I'm going to quickly share the CEC budget. Let me. Oh. Share screen. All right. Okay, I'll see my screen now.
There it is.
All right. So, but at very high level, we get $25,000 from the DOE. Is that our funding sources? And basically, according to DOE policy, each member is entitled to have $125 of childcare reimbursement every month to basically when you're attending CEC businesses, you are allowed to get reimbursed for your childcare services. So I encourage every member to take advantage of that, and not only just to show your service, but also to make things possible for yourself and for the community. So everyone should have a copy of the reimbursement.
Can you just talk about website and the ad? Website and the copier?
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the modification I made was basically for the copier, it's $1,500. And also the CEC website, we outsource it to a company that does this for us. So this is also fixed.
I make a motion to approve those two.
I second it.
Second. Can we vote, please?
Yes.
All right.
President?
Yes.
President BJ Ron Jackson?
Yes.
First Vice President, Zhao? My computer comes with that.
Yeah.
Second Vice President, Russo Abner? Yes. Treasurer Utah Check?
Yes.
Recording Secretary Latifah Lewis? Yes. Member GK?
Yes.
Member Quentin Messeton?
Yes.
Member Simone Darnback? Yes. Member Adriana Alicia?
Yeah.
Member Julissa?
Yes.
Member Jalen?
Yep.
Okay, motion passed, budget
All right.
approved. At the time now is 9:58 p.m. This meeting is adjourned for October
All right.
3rd, 5th, 2023. Thank
We
you. Good
have
night,
3
everyone.
minutes to wrap up.
We're like,
All right.
we're like
Thank you, everyone.